What up, everybody? Peace, 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 people. It's been a long time since I've been on here, maybe a couple of weeks. I took a little break. I was kind of burnt out from YouTube and what was going on social media with the death of Charlie Kirk and how things were seemingly spiraling out of control as far as the rhetoric that was going about with, harassments of people coming for the Black community about our opinion about his death and other things like that. Today, though, I'm going to talk about someone that I have been talking about for a great while. I have been talking about this individual, Dr. Arikana Qual, since 2019, when I had learned of her back in 2018 as the ambassador to the United States to the African Union. And there was something that struck me deep within my spirit about her that just didn't settle right in my stomach and my soul. So I began to follow her and kind of like try to see why she was irking the living shit out of me. Why was she irking me? She was always talking, all this big talk about Africa, all this big talk about the diaspora, all this big talk of Pan-Africanism and unity and how we could join forces and do something really magnificent for Africa. But what I noticed is that this woman never talked about doing anything for America, anything for the ghettos, anything for Black Americans. She just wanted to use us as a tool and abuse us, in my opinion. And this was the perception that I got and gathered way back in 2019. And lo and behold, she ended up being fired. And I found out it was for fraud through the African Union. And you would think that after being caught red-handed as the ambassador, a permanent position as an ambassador, and that post was snatched from you because of your fraudulent ways and tendencies, that you would think that this person would like lay low and maybe have a change of heart and go on about their business with their tail tucked between their backside. But no, she didn't do that. She was emboldened to carry on with further scams. What am I talking about? Well, we know, or those that have been watching me on my other channel, that she claimed that she was going to build a so-called Wakanda city in Ghana. What, 4 or 5 years ago? There ain't no such city built, as you know. But all that money that she collected for Wakanda, so-called city, she has amassed and pocketed that money. And now, suddenly, she came up with the latest. She rubbed elbows with the Burkina Faso Captain Toure. She went over there against all odds, brought with her some Black Americans and others from the so-called diaspora to visit with this Captain Toure. And in her mind, she was trying to bolster his image. She was bolstering his essence of who he was and trying to make him into a hero in our hearts and minds. So she waltzed over there. She brought the so-called diaspora along with Black Americans, paraded them in front of this Captain Toure, and gave a speech about how he was a great man to kick out the French. He was doing what real men are supposed to do. He was taking control over his destiny and the future of Burkina Faso citizens and whatnot, and all these things, which is true. You know, one thing I have learned is that to be a great, phenomenal liar, you can tell a lot of truths by, exhibiting certain things that is going on, or explaining, expressing certain things in times past that have happened, but you and your intentions don't have to match up with the reality of what you are prone to do. She used the name of Captain Toure to basically get more clout. And she flaunted the so-called diaspora alongside of Black Americans to put in their mind and hearts this desire to link up or be connected to Africa. And for some strange reason, it only works for the people that are low, self-esteem, low pride, low love, self-love. We all want to have something bigger than ourselves, be a part of something bigger than ourselves. We want to gravitate to power and powerful people. And so she used Captain Toure as a springboard of sorts to try to get others to look to Africa and that man, Captain Toure, as being a hero, as being someone to be reverenced, to be worshipped, to be praised. And so she got together with her scheming ways and her scheming team of ADDI, and they thought, how could we scam while Captain Toure is on the rise? He's hot like hotcakes. in the hearts and minds of many people around the globe that are melanated. Of course, there was a march not that long ago when Captain Langley had said some words referencing Captain Torre in a way that might have put him a little bit on the spotlight. And people went all over the world marching to claim that they had Captain Torre's back, and this bolstered Captain Torre's imagery of who he is. And then this Dr. Arikana couldn't help herself. She decided that she was gonna get together with her team of ADDI, possibly someone in the government of Burkina Faso, and claim to offer citizenship to Black Americans and other melanated folks around the world to Burkina Faso. And I did talk about this on my other channel because I thought it was rather odd. First of all, Burkina Faso is not stable. Second of all, there has been 18 to 19 assassinated attempts against Captain Torre's life, and it will continue to be that way. It is a hot spot to be. It is not a place of peace. It is not a place of anything that you could build and live happily because of the conditions on the ground and the fact that the French are still butthurt about how they were kicked out. They're still strategizing on how they are going to be able to, get the power back again. And other Africans are on board to get rid of Captain Torre to return the power structure as it was before. So with her even offering this potential so-called citizenship, to me was a disrespect, a disregard to the lives of the people that are from America or from other places, putting them in harm's way, in my opinion. But she knew, and others knew, that it was a farce. They knew that it was never going nowhere, but they knew also that they could get money and they could milk the money from the people, and they could bait them, and they could make them feel like they were going to really be a part of that man, Captain Torre. So we're going to go back a little bit. I want to go back to the beginning to let y'all see what had happened initially when she came out with this plan to talk about citizenship. And then we're going to go and listen to the scandal that's going on now. There are people that's speaking out about the scam, in particular, O'Shea Duke Jackson of Kanganda really has brought forth the information. I knew that it was a fraud, but I act and operated with discernment. But the receipts are receding, and now the information is known about it. But let me go back for those that are not aware of who Dr. Arikana Hombre is. 8 months ago, she went on a channel called Connect Africa, and she was talking big about Burkina Faso and everything like that. So I want to give y'all a little bit of a background about her. So before I get going, I'm going to say fair use of all videos that I show under the Copyright Act of 1976 for education, first and foremost, entertainment, information, scholarship, all the above, not meaning to impose, but to inform and to enlighten as to what is going on with this particular woman, Dr. Arikana, and why we as Black Americans, indigenous to America, should cease from believing any of these Pan-African clowns should cease from being a part of any of their schemes and scams that they have devised, particularly catered and crafted for you. Because all these scams are totally for us. Imagine, America right now is going through a mass deportation unlike anything I've ever witnessed in my whole entire life, where there's so many illegals and migrants scrambling all over the place. And the only ones that are safe in America are the indigenous Black Americans. And somehow people want us to think about leaving America. Somehow people want to get us to go when our birthright is here in America. But the Africans don't like that fact, as I've been explaining many times before. They do not like the fact that we have a birthright. They don't like the fact that we have protections. They don't like the fact that we are unafraid right now and unconcerned with ICE or anything going on. Yeah, sure, people are being detained in Chicago and released. People can show their IDs or birth certificates or whatever, or be looked up in a system, realize that you are an American and you are released. You are inconvenienced temporarily, but you are not taken away, snatched up, hemmed up in detention centers, or shipped off to Africa or any other place around the globe. The migrants and the illegals and the immigrants, however, can't say the same. And for some reason, they have been trying so hard to include us in the festivities of what they're going through, that every time you turn around, there's a new scheme for citizenship somewhere. Now, BN is talking about citizenship. I know Ghana was talking about citizenship. Now this notion of Burkina Faso. But let me now get to this video. Now, this video was 8 months ago. I just want you guys to hear what she had to say back when, just to let you guys remember what she said. And by the way, if you guys could, please hit that like button. What's up, yo boy King? Thank you for coming through. I really appreciate you and everybody in the clouds. Please hit the like.
Excellency Dr. Arikana Kwao to talk about the project of going home to Burkina Faso, which is launched by one of the organizations that she founded, which is the African Diaspora Development Institute, which is working, something by African descendants to Africa. So first of all, I mean, she does not need any introduction, but I would do just a few lines. Welcome.
Thank you, my dear daughter. Thank you for the great work that you're doing, and thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. No, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you here. So, Her Excellency Dr. Arikana Kwao, she's the founder, president, and chief executive officer of ADDI. Also, Her Excellency is a medical doctor, having practiced medicine for more than a quarter of a century, for more than 25 years. And she's also, apart from ADDI, she's a founder of and owner of medical clinics. She's a diplomat, she's a public speaker, she's an educator, and she's an entrepreneur. But for us, I think before any revolution started in the Sahel states, she's the one who shed light on France's exploitation in Africa, which costed her a lot of things. But I think, at least for me, that's how the revolution started, and that is when the name Mama Africa has been given to Her Excellency. So she's also known as Mama Africa. So without further ado, let's go. Why Burkina Faso? What is going home? It seems a fulfillment of what the great Marcus Garvey has started in that organization of UNIA. But tell us about it and why Burkina Faso.
let me start by saying what is happening in Burkina Faso is a revolution that is way past due. What is happening in Niger and Mali is a revolution that is way past due. So why Burkina Faso? It is an obvious place that I think for him to have invited us to come to Burkina Faso and receive citizenships, it is just fitting. And it is the right country with the right leadership at this time.
So she outright states that we supposedly were invited. And she's given the impression that the Captain Toure himself invited us. She's sprucing up the lie and giving this illusion that the great Captain Toure, the one that kicked the French out on their ear, the one that's a revolutionary in Africa, you know, thinking that somehow that is going to want us to link up and be associated with. And she, for the most part, guessed correct that there would be a slew of people that would want to feel connected to this Captain Toure based off of the news, the media, and everything else, and how she's expressing it. Not that it was going to be a benefit to us somehow, but just by association, just by being around him, just by being in the same country as him. She's making it seem like he's like Jesus in the flesh. Think about that. You know, for a lot of us, unfortunately, we do not have great leaders anymore in America like we used to have, like the Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and others. And so now we're finding that many Africans and Pan-Africans are trying to call themselves our heroes and leaders. And she is basically putting in our faces this Captain Toure. She's selling this Captain Toure to us to make us feel like we are at loss with a leader. Perhaps if we go associate and affiliate with Captain Toure, we will find in him our new leader. That's what she was kind of tie in, using emotionalism on us. And for the ones that are easily influenced and easily duped, they would listen to this type of talk and they would get all excited and they would think that they were about to go and be a part of something grand and big. Listen.
Look at all the African leaders that we have today. President Traore, he is thousands of miles apart from the rest of the African leaders. He is fearless. He is doing what should have been done decades ago when we attained our independence as African leaders. How on earth in 2025 we could still be sending our bank reserves to France? We could still be making sure that our African companies are second class, are third in line when it comes to benefiting from our natural resources. In 2025, French companies are still mining in African countries, and African countries are lucky to get 10% royalty. Why are we bleeding our wealth to the Western world when our people need that wealth to fund our education, to fund our healthcare systems, to create jobs for our youth? It is the most ludicrous thing that could be happening in 2025.
And what's more ludicrous is that you have all these chiefs, such as in Ghana, with billions upon billions of dollars, other business tycoons, elites all over the place in the UK, London, United States, all over the world, and they hoard their money just for their clan and their tribe. They do not care about the general populace on the ground in Africa. So although she's speaking truth as to what's really going on in Africa, she doesn't want to be the solution in her ilk, in her kind, in the elites, in the chiefs, or any of them. She would never ask of them to contribute their fortunes to help turn around what's going on wrong in Africa. No, she wants them to keep all their goodies, and she wants to try to make the Black Americans the scapegoat. She wants to use the word diaspora as being the scapegoat. When she says the word diaspora, what she's really alluding to is Black Americans. Although we are not a part of a diaspora, we do not have a home country in Africa because we're not from there. We have been in America for hundreds of years. We're not like Nigerians that have left Nigeria, come to America, and they can always go back. We're not like other Africans that have their grandparents living back in Africa and their cousins and aunts or anything like that. But somehow people have clumped us into this notion that we too, the Black Americans, the ones that are not immigrants, are also a part of this diaspora because they have a scheme in mind. As I said before, their scheme in mind is to basically make us the scapegoat in hopes to have us be the sacrificial lamb in upgrading and elevating Africans, primarily the elites, not us. They don't care about what happens to us as a whole. They could care less, but they definitely want to use us, and the best way to use us is to fool us into believing that we're all in this together and strapping us down with debt, strapping us down with different schemes and scams, ripping us off and leaving us with absolutely nothing. This is her mindset and philosophy. And this is what she's been a part of doing since 2019, maybe prior to that. But since I've known of her, since her firing as the ambassador, she has decided that we are the key component group of people, Black Americans, to be used and abused and to be hustled. This is why her coming up with this notion of having citizenship in Burkina Faso is ridiculous. Why didn't she finish her first scheme of the Wakanda city of Ghana? She doesn't have to finish anything. She does not have to prove anything. All she has to do is talk and yap, and people buy it hook, line, and sinker. And this is why a lot of us are finding ourselves in a hard position and losing out on a lot of money by listening to the likes of a Dr. Arikana, because she sounds like she is serious. She sounds like she has passion. But does that mean she has good intention? No, it does not. Let's go.
Why is that our leadership is not seeing how wrong this is?
0 harsh ingredients and 20% thicker. That's the Huggies Skin Essentials wipe.
Wait, if you were detained at any California women's prison, such as Chowchilla Women's Facility, Folsom, or California Institute.
Wrong this is. President Traore, along with the president of Burkina Faso, of Mali and Niger, they have stood up and said enough is enough. So for those who choose to tarnish those 3 countries, as the leadership having been attained through a coup, I want you to think again. The coups that took place in those three countries, do not compare them with what was orchestrated by France and other Western countries in the past. Those coups were intentionally done to overthrow those leaders who wanted to do something about what was going on wrongly in Africa. They wanted to right the wrong, and for that they paid a price of being either assassinated or being overthrown. The coups that took place in Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, those are not coups. Those are revolutions where a young man, 36 years old, stood up and said, enough is enough. I am willing to sacrifice my life. I am willing to sacrifice everything I have in order to do what I can do, play my part in righting this wrong. President Traore has sacrificed everything. He is leading in the manner that Africa should be led. We need more leaders like President Traore. So when you ask me why Burkina Faso, is for the obvious reason. Last year, I took a group of 150 diaspora to Burkina Faso. We started with over double that number. But many were told, do not go to Burkina Faso, it's a war-torn country. Yeah. Many were told Burkina Faso was a dangerous place to be. But we knew better. Nobody tells the Western world not to go to their countries of origin. There are many atrocities being committed in those countries, but nobody's telling people not to go there. We also felt, therefore, no one should tell us not to go to any African country, particularly Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. They have been painted with such a horrible brush. We needed to go to Burkina Faso and let the people know that what you are being told is false. Couldn't be anywhere near.
So even though Captain Traore has had 18 and 19 attempts against his life, she deems Burkina Faso to be safe enough to go and pretend that there ain't no issue, that it's not unstable, that it's not easily disruptive with Boko Haram and other insurgents that may go over there trying to take the life of this Captain Traore. Now, let's look at this real quick clip to illustrate how dangerous it really is. Again, you do not have 18 and 19 coups on the very man that did a coup, back in 2022, and claim out of your mouth that Burkina Faso is safe. How could it be safe when his life was attempted upon 18, 19 times? Come on now.
The world's youngest head of state, Captain Ibrahim Burkina Faso, is grappling with persistent coup attempts. The latest plot was announced by the government on Monday night. Since coming to power in September 2022, Captain Ibrahim Traore has faced several attempts to overthrow him. On the latest foiled attempt, Burkinabe Security Minister Mahamudu Sana said that the country's intelligence services had intercepted communications on a major plot for an assault on the presidency on April 16th. It is said the plot was orchestrated from Abidjan, the capital of neighboring Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire has not commented publicly on the matter. The announcement came just a week after several army officers were arrested and stripped of their duties. Back in January 2024, the authorities announced that they had thwarted another coup attempt by a network of military personnel, some retired, some active and civilians who conspired to destabilize the institutions of Burkina Faso. It said some of the people behind the plot were arrested. Earlier in September 2023, the government said a coup attempt was foiled by the security services. There have been no reported convictions in court over the alleged coup attempts. Burkina Faso's transitional president, Ibrahim Traore himself,
like I say, if it was so safe and no problems whatsoever, there would not be so many attempts to his life. But again, Dr. Arikana is playing chess. She is using the so-called diaspora, primarily Black Americans, as leverage and tools to be used for all the schemes and scams that she devises. And she will have us walk through a burning house to be able to get to our money and put us in harm's way. She does not care. So I'm going to play a little bit more of this again. This was 8 months ago. Then I'll catch you up to what she said a month ago. And then we'll get to what has happened recently, which is there was reports that came out that Burkina Faso, after all, is not giving out or handing out citizenship to the people that Arikana claims she could go and help them get. But she was able to go and fleece over $1 million out of 1,000+ people with this bait of citizenship in Burkina Faso in this very month of October. And once the news broke that the citizenship was not going to be had, people started coming out of the woodwork, speaking out about it, telling what, the truth about how they were played, how they were giving up their information, birth certificate, and other information to hand over to her to be a part of the ADDI membership database, as I have warned y'all not to do so, because she is collecting y'all information so that she can use that information for later stuff in reference to reparations, in reference to you and your identity and who we are as a people. She is using your information and holding it and keeping it to use for another day, another time. And I told y'all not to trust this woman because she's sneaky, a snake, a predator, and she is not someone that is honorable whatsoever. I don't care that she's able to speak well. I don't care that she has degrees and she used to be a medical doctor. So fucking what? Let's listen some more to this and then we're going to get to the latest.
Closer to the truth. But we know those are the games that are played in order to keep our economies where they want them to be. They, and by they, I mean those who don't look like you and I, they're going to Burkina Faso in masses. They're doing business in Burkina Faso, but they don't want those who look like you and I to also go to Africa and benefit.
Yeah.
So what is our inheritance? So no, the question should not be why Burkina Faso. The question should be why not Burkina Faso? Because in Burkina Faso, the revolution that's going to change Africa, that is the epicenter of that revolution. And we as Black people in Africa and around the world, we have a responsibility to support President Ibrahim Traore. We have a responsibility to let him know that he has over 300 million army of African diaspora behind him, in front of him, besides him. We are surrounding him with the support and love that he needs to continue to lead us to the promised land. That is why Burkina Faso.
Thank you very much. I still stick to my.
Okay, so again, that video was done 8 months ago. She was alluding to going home to Burkina Faso. She was alluding to the citizenship to Burkina Faso. Now I'm going to play a video that was just done about a month ago where they were reiterating the so-called hookup for October to go ahead with this so-called notion of citizenship. And I want to play a little bit of that. There are a lot of people that are in on this scam. And let me see. I'm going to play this video real quick. Hold on.
I think others will definitely be joining us from the looks of those who register. People are probably just trying to get the link, but we can go ahead and move forward. Let me share my screen. Just a second.
Hold on, let me fast forward this a little bit. Okay.
To creations by Black Power by Addi Toomey, that is Bokari Indiara Quinto, for hooking us up with a blacktastic new flyer design. So we're going to use this type of design moving forward. I just wanted to give them a big shout out, and we'll go ahead and get started. And as some of you also will probably know, that anytime I give a presentation, I like to make it as interactive as possible. So when I say Burkina, I want you to say Faso. Let's try that. Burkina.
Faso. Faso.
Faso. Burkina.
Faso. Faso.
Burkina.
Faso.
Fantastic. Let's go. And as you also may know, I also like to start off with libation, but this libation is going to be the libation that I pour at the spot, the exact spot where Nana Toma Sankara was assassinated. Quintos are coming in.
So this dude, he's actually, I believe, an American who now lives in Ghana. I guess he takes on some type of title or chief or something, and he is helping to facilitate this notion of citizenship in Burkina Faso just a week ago. And he's going through all the, efforts to showcase him with libations and trying to make it official or whatever like that, this so-called initiative. But it's all, again, for show. This never materializes as a fact because, again, the people were told just a few days ago that they were not going to get citizenship. So all of this is just for show. All of this is to get people assuming that this is really about to happen and to cause people to donate or to hurry up and get membership and sign on this ADDI database. And she knew full well, Dr. Arikana, that this was never going to happen, but she allowed these people to be fooled until the very end. Let's go.
So if you will bear with me, we'll go ahead and listen in on that libation. libation.
It's in English.
It's not in English. English is not Pan-African. It would be Yoruba, Chi, Medunecha,
Yeah, but what
More.
about other people who are going to be listening to it? They don't know what, excuse me.
It's okay.
They don't know what you're saying.
You understand what I'm saying? If you know, then you will know what I'm saying. I think you know. But anyone who wants to come after and do whatever else, you can do it. But I'm moved to do what I'm about to do. And let me let other people in. I may need to delegate this. So the Quintos, I see you are on. I'm going to make you a co-host. So anybody who comes in, if you can let them in, because I'm sure it's going to break the video anytime that I may need to do that. So if y'all can handle that. Ago!
Now look at all these people that are supposedly here to give libations for this ceremonial coming of the so-called citizenship to Burkina Faso. I guess this is what they like to do to make things official, to make them be blessed and be prosperous in whatever they're trying to accomplish. But it was all for show, because right after this, people got wind and word that there was not going to be citizenship at all. But I just want to let y'all see how far the scam goes. They will showcase libations. They will have many people behind you. They will make it seem like it's being ordained and that is legit and all of these things, knowing full well it's not. Let's go. That's exactly right, Gail. At night, symbolism, a big show. That's it. Exactly right. But a lot of us are impressed with shows. And this is what makes me so frustrated and upset with our people, because we're not critical thinkers. We don't utilize our discerning spirit. We do not test people. We do not make them show and prove their worth and their proof of honesty of whatever that they claim. We just kind of like roll with it, and we participate in the shenanigans of their delusion and deceit. And all this show right here is to try to give people the impression that this is gonna really be what is coming down the pipeline, citizenship in Burkina Faso. And they're going through great lengths to lie. This is what I'm showing right here, right now. Symbolism of lies.
Please call the names of the ancestors who want to be with us right now. Nana Thomas, Isidore, Sankara, Osunye, Marcus Garvey. What's your name? Dr. Clyde. Yedi Akwa. Mario Magali. Yedi Akwa. Searching for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Omowale Malcolm X. Zendokhla. Steve Biko. Zendokhla. 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 Zendokhla.
That's exactly what I was just thinking, Gail, at night. This could be a spell or something. Exactly. Man, you're on it. You're in my brain right now. This video was done just for you so that you know a week ago. It says replay ADDI's Burkina Faso Citizenship Initiative. What really happened and why I'm still going. This was done October 5th. And again, going through all the different changes to try to give the illusion that this initiative is on board, is on the right track, is going to really happen, and people are watching this and believing it, and it's not so. I'm going to fast forward it just a little bit to see if he talks more about what is about to happen, supposedly. Let me see. Let me go back a little bit. All right.
Obia Kano Kona, before Stadia. Obia Kano Kona, Ibrahim Traore. What did Stadia? Bonabara for a man, ye. What a shot for us and come up with us in Modavrma. What you an area, Shahai? What you an area by Modavrma? What you an Akuse? Kuse. Yeah. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, man.
So that's our libation to get us started. And again, where that green sculpture is, that's the exact spot where Nana Thomas Sankara was assassinated. And they have a red circle that goes around that place. We continue. So the topics covered today in this presentation, we're going to give a little bit of background, ADDI, and the right of return, the context, 2024-2025 engagement and claims. Primary law, we're going to look at the decree on the Code des Personnes et de la Famille, CPF, what the decree actually says in French and in English. On the ground meetings, August 3rd through the 10th, and advance notice, a September 27th email that I got prior to the ADDI notice, the emergency meeting that happened on the 29th. So at least a couple of days ahead of time, I was made aware that citizenship is not on the table. And I'll go just a little bit into that as well. And then I'll go into implications, planning, and why I'm still going, and let everyone know about the Sankofa journey, December 8th through the 23rd, 2025. And for those who are interested in more in that, that is sankofajourney.com.
So he is clearing up now that he said that he knows now that while he was doing libations before for citizenship, that is actually not going to happen like that. And I'm curious of what he's about to say now, but this is the itinerary supposedly that's supposed to be happening for the right of return of ADDI and the engagement and claims. Let's just listen some more to what else he has to say. I can't remember this guy's name. Let me see if I can find his name. I've seen him before, but I don't know his name off the top. If somebody else knows the name off the top, let me know. But I'm going to play a little bit more, and then we're going to get to another video of his where he actually has Dr. Arikana speaking not that long ago, about a month ago. And then we'll get to the scandal of the citizenship not actually being a reality, and that people were upset and they spoke out about it. Let's go.
This is the 27th annual Sankofa Journey You heard that right, 27 years going strong. 1998 was my first time ever coming to Ghana, and that also marked the very first Sankofa journey. And then I'll tell you a little bit about the award and mural for President Ibrahim Traoré, and we can go into Q&A. Let's continue. Burkina.
Paso.
Burkina.
Paso.
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 Burkina.
Paso.
Paso. Continue. So just by way of background, we had an ADDI interview on a Bibi Tumi, where ADDI campaigns for automatic citizenship for Black descendants as a right of return and reparative justice. And for those who are interested in that talk, you can get it at abibitumi.com/Arikana. And the initial positioning was around DNA and lineage. And from there, advocacy for automatic citizenship. And that was, as you see here on the poster, February 2nd, 2025, an ambassador that I did with, an interview that I did with Ambassador Chiyombori Kwao on abibitumi.com. And then these are images from my trip to Burkina, August 3rd through the 10th. So this is a diaspora summit for Burkina Bay. This is a school that they have, a vocational training school that they have in Burkina. And then this was the itinerary for the group that I went with through Nana Yao, Owusu Achiao. We continue. So for context, January 2025 claims, January 18th, 2025, ADDI stated that the president, Ibrahim Traoré, signed an executive order to fast-track diaspora citizenship with no red tape. You can find that on balanta.org. Balanta.org is run by Sifira Baleka, who also was on that August trip to Burkina Faso with me. And the result of that was, as you can imagine, widespread expectation of automatic expedited nationality. And my interest was due to alignment with the decade of our repatriation initiatives. And that is something that's going to be launched. It's actually, already in motion, but it's going to be formally launched, I'm told, at the Diaspora Summit. And that's going to happen December 19th and 20th. And we will be there for that. And then, again, 2024, ADDI had gone there. They met with President Ibrahim Traoré, and some of these discussions were started at that point in time. Now, in terms of diaspora engagement, 2024 to 2025, there was warm outreach, homecoming visits, investment, and cultural signaling. You can, again, find more about that on balanta.org. And then the announcement was made because initially, when Ambassador Chiyombori Kwao let us know about this, on the 2nd of February, we put together an MOU in the spirit of unity of saying, all right, well, how can we work together on this? And then there was a delay in terms of even getting the dates. Initially it was said, well, maybe it'll happen in April, then maybe July. Eventually the dates came out October 26th through November 8th as a delegation. And initially we were told it was 1,008 people, and then that number was augmented to somewhere in the environs of 1,200 was what I heard. And again, there were public hints and assumptions of possible citizenship ceremonies, but we didn't know where in that 26th to the 8th that it may happen. And again, these were those who came on that delegation to Burkina Faso. This is a brother who I mentioned has Balanta.org, Secure Baleka, who has actually been on Abibitumi previously to talk about citizenship in Guinea-Bissau. Burkina?
Paso. Paso.
Burkina?
Paso. Paso.
Burkina?
Paso.
It's very interesting how they seem to worship, Burkina Faso, going against what the Bible talks about, which is putting other things over the Most High. And he was attempting to put in our mind this leader and Burkina Faso as something to be reverenced, as something to be worshipped. And I knew that something was not going to happen very well. Now, I'm catching y'all up to what has transpired. This same guy, he did a small interview with Dr. Arikana. He goes by the name of of Openfo, Professor Obadel Kambon, something like that. I'm not pronouncing it right, I'm sure. But this was a month ago, so they were on track with still spinning and selling the notion of citizenship in Burkina Faso. And I just want you to hear what was stated before we get to the breakdown of what actually happened and transpired the last few days when it all hit the fan, that there's not going to be citizenship and that people were bamboozled. People were taken for a ride. Some people actually went to Burkina Faso assuming that they were going to get citizenship, spent a lot of money for membership, and spent extra money on top of that money. For about 1,200 people took the bait, and the amount of money that was amassed with this scheme was a little bit over $1 million. So it's not something to just ignore and dismiss like a lot of people like to do when it comes to us being scammed. They're like, oh, it's no biggie. We don't want to ridicule any African, especially any so-called African leader. If you've been burnt or slighted or scammed, there's something you did that you should have did better or thought better. It's never the fault of the African. And this is why I have an immense problem with Pan-Africanism, because it puts Africans on pedestals that they should not be on. I'm not worshiping no damn African. I'm sorry. I'm not thinking that their shit don't stink. I'm sorry. I'm not bowing down to Africans. For what? I never will. At all. Let's go.
As mentioned, we always start off with libation so that whether we're in a digital space or a physical space, our great ancestors are here with us. So what I'd like to do is just start with a brief bio before we go into the interview itself. I'm very honored to have you join us, and just very excited about the initiatives coming out of Burkina Faso in general. So by way of bio, Oyarisafo, that is Dr. Nchi Arikana Chiombore Kwao, is a medical doctor and activist. She is a public speaker, educator, diplomat, founder of medical clinics, and an entrepreneur. She moved to the United States after living many years in Zimbabwe. She is the CEO and founder of Bell Family Medical Centers in the U.S. and served as the African Union representative to the U.S. from 2017 to 2019. She holds a bachelor's degree in general chemistry, a master's degree in organic chemistry, and a doctor of medicine degree. Chiombore was a family medicine specialist in Tennessee. She practiced medicine for 29 years in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. She is an outspoken person, ambassador about the implications of the Berlin Conference that took place, of course, in Berlin, Germany, 1884 to 1885. And she lectures on the outcome of the divisions of the continent that were made. And she also, as we see, is an advocate for the diaspora through her founding of the ADDI, African Diaspora Development Institute. So with no further ado, I would like to bring on our honorable, our blacknificent, our blacktastic, our blackerific, and our spectacular ambassador, Arikana Chiombore Kwao.
Thank you, Stan, for the introduction. Much appreciated. And I also want to take this moment to thank all of you for all the work that you're doing to continue to uplift our voices, to continue to remind everyone about our history, who we are, where we have been, and what we must do in order to take us where we need to be.
Now, mind you, this video was a month ago, so it was prior to the knowledge of this scam, of it being realized that no citizenship was going to be given to the people that took the bait. 1,200 people spent money, joined in her ADDI membership, paid money towards this membership, this is what she had to say before all the shit hit the fan. And I want you guys to hear, you know, why a lot of people assume that this woman is God's gift on earth, but she is a fraudster through and through. Nothing about her is honorable. Again, she was fired as the ambassador of the African Union for embezzlement. And I have the paperwork that I have read about on various videos about it back in 2019. Moreover, she lied 4 or 5 years ago, claiming to make a city called Wakanda City in Ghana. Where is that city at? She got all that money for that lie. Nobody has checked her. Nobody has challenged her. Nobody has come up to her and say, hey, wait a minute, you collected money for Wakanda City. No, she just moves on and develops other schemes and scams. She sees no limit to scamming. But listen to this.
The organizers of ADDI who are making everything that we do possible. With us today, we have our Vice President, Damian Cook, from Jacksonville, Tennessee, who has spent the past couple of years living in Zimbabwe. I have our Director for Chapters, Sister Sylvia, is also with her husband, Agrippa. I also have our Executive Director and VP for North America, Olainka Creighton Randall, Dr. Olainka Creighton Randall. I also have our own son of Burkina Faso, Anthony Taylor, who made the journey with us to Burkina Faso. Plus many others who are not on that call, on this call today. CEO Springer, all the way in Barbados. Our CFO Benson Kasue out of Texas. And so the team is working very hard to make sure that we continue to do whatever we can within our means to finish the unfinished business that was started by not only Thomas Sankara, but way before Thomas Sankara, Marcus Garvey. As most of you know, last year, a group of us, about 150, we took the journey to go to Burkina Faso. When we started, we were over 500. But slowly, one by one, people started getting calls from their family members, getting calls from their friends, reading websites of various countries, warning them not to go to Burkina Faso. They were being told it was a country that is war-torn. It was a country that was at war, guns everywhere, people were being shot everywhere. But I knew better. I knew that when I hear them tell me to go east, my real journey should go. It's always the opposite of what they tell me. When they make that gold rush to run to a country, any country that has a conflict in Africa, you can be rest assured that is where the world is. Like our heading for our next Zoom is, it says our El Dorado. If you are looking for the El Dorado in Africa, go to the conflict areas. The areas they claim are areas of conflict. Why are they there? If there wasn't anything exciting and wonderful in those countries, they wouldn't be there. And the reason we have those conflicts is because they are creating those conflicts so they can continue to exploit the continent while the government is busy fighting the created conflicts. Typical example is what's going on in the Congo today. So when they told us not to go to Burkina Faso, 150 brave ones of us, we ran to Burkina Faso. We had an amazing time in Burkina Faso. We were well received by the president and the entire government. They opened the entire country to us. President Traore said, "Children of Africa, welcome home." And home we came. We attended the cultural event, which was the first day that we arrived. And the president made sure that on that very day, soon after we had just arrived, he made sure we sat along where he could do high fives with us as he attended the program. It was an amazing welcome. And it took us off guard to just say, oh my God, he's right there in front of us. High-fiving us. And that's just the beginning of the trip. And the trip remained at that high level of performance. And
share the gift of it.
That was odd because she didn't even go through any more conversation about the citizenship, but this is what they do. They just keep talking about Burkina Faso. They keep talking about, you know, the awesomeness of this Captain Toure. But interestingly enough, this cut interview of Dr. Arikana, there was a link to get the entirety of the interview, and you had to pay $20. You had to pay to get the completed interview of Dr. Arikana to discuss this Burkina Faso citizenship initiative. You had to pay $20. So that just shows you again, their mindset is to always try to get monies from us. They make up stuff, delusional stuff in our head for us to believe in and be a part of, but we got to pay money or else. So now let's get to the good part. I just wanted to play a little bit of what had happened. Now I want to get to the people that want to discuss what happened to them pertaining to this lie of citizenship to Burkina Faso and how they felt when they found out it was not going to actually be that. And so I go now to Go Black to Africa, who interviewed a couple of the people that were burnt by Dr. Arikana and her ADDI, and they're expressing themselves to let us know how they were played. And I have been talking about this woman again, was told a long time ago I was haters of Africans, because if you talk about an African somehow, you are a hater of yourself. You cannot tell anything against an African. And I'm not down for that bullshit, because they're always talking about Black Americans. They have no qualms with talking shit about Black Americans, but don't you dare open your mouth to talk about an African. But I'm going to do that anyways. I'm going to let the people speak for themselves. Shout out to Go Black to Africa, to finding both of these people, witnesses that partook in signing up for this so-called citizenship to Burkina Faso. And they're telling the tale of how it did not happen the way in which it was supposed to happen. But what did really happen is that they got their money gone, and that their information was included in that ADDI database. As I've stated a long time ago, do not touch that ADDI database. Do not give out your personal information on it. She is deliberately and strategically collecting y'all information and saving it for another day to use as leverage against us. That's what's going on. Let's go.
And I'll have some questions here, and we'll get into, this whole idea of getting citizenships and where it kind of ended up at. But before that, let me go ahead and also bring in my brother, Jason. Brian, please, Brian, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and we can get into this this whole sabbatical, excuse me, this whole thing that's blew up in a sense for people?
All right, first and foremost, I want to go ahead and give all praises to the Most High. And I want to say thank you, brother, for even allowing us the opportunity to speak. I'm a jack of all trades, 20 years military, background in logistics, security, hazardous materials. I'm also in the legal system as far as my position currently right now. I do a little bit of everything, and just like yourself, I do have a strong military background, United States Navy and Army. I want to go ahead and say, first of all, when it comes to this situation, it's not so much about, it's not about smearing Dr. Africana, right? It's about bringing transparency. I want to make sure that we clarify some things about situations. I'm a very fundamental person when it comes to looking at how things have been done, and I do my absolute research, and I go and I check, and I check behind, and what we come to find out is that, first of all, there was never any government positioning with ADDI, right? This is not an opinion. This is not, there was never we are granting ADDI citizenship. There was none. There was nothing on ground. There was no clarification. Now, what people need to understand is I went to Amazon and I purchased a diamond. They told me in order to buy that diamond, I had to join Amazon membership. That's their passport. That's what they sold. And the only way you can get this diamond is through joining Amazon. Then they said, well, we need donations. And because they knew that we cared about what was going on, and we knew that we wanted this diamond so bad, people, not only did they pay registration, not only did they donate books, not only did they donate laptops, clothes, but they did this because a promise was made that you're going to hand me this diamond. You're going to hand me this rare diamond. We get within 30 days of getting that rare diamond. Tickets have been bought through agencies that they recommended, which some of those places don't get refunds because there's two different insurances that you must purchase that wasn't even addressed. But these are all through recommendations that they had, that they made, that this is what we want y'all to do because we've made this deal and we've done this. So now you wait on this diamond, and then they come back and they say, well, we're not giving you a diamond. We're going to give you a piece of coal, some charcoal. And it's the same as a diamond. And they tell you that. And they say, it's almost the same. And then they belittle you for saying, no, I do recognize that over 10,000 years and a certain amount of applied pressure, the diamond, that it can become a diamond, but that's not what you sold. That's not what you advertised, and that's not what you marketed. When it comes to ADDI, when it comes to their organization, this is not a one-off. So I did notice that and this is where it has come a problem, is that everyone gives the benefit of the doubt, but how many times do you give the benefit of the doubt? See, throughout the investigations and talking to multiple people, when you bring up Wakanda, every time money has come up missing. Every time money has come up missing, right? So if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, 9 times out of 10, it's a duck. So if you get removed from your position for stealing, we can use fancy words and say misappropriation of funds, right? We can use those words, but it's called stealing. Now, you are 100% right, because two things can be the exact same. You can speak against the Union, the French, and you can still be a thief. There is no such thing, and I'm not calling her a thief because I want to make sure I clarify this. Right. But two things can be the exact same. You can do good on your right hand and still punch somebody with your left. Right? Yeah. We continually try to put the two together and say that this is not the case. But there's a pattern. And as people, we must start to look at the pattern and hold everyone accountable, because if they are a detriment to the mission, then they are not our friends, right? We keep talking about refunds, right? But you got people such as Taylor who's moved, and she's not the only one who's already relocated. You have people who sold their stuff, who were bringing their 90-year-old their father on ground, right? To find out that there was never an agreement. And when I say never an agreement, she was never authorized to say that this citizenship was going to happen. And this is how I know this for fact, because in her own words, it's no longer now that citizenship was promised. It's now, well, it was talks. Well, it was talks of. And here's the problem. What these people have done is they've prayed, and I say prayed because and it's predatorial. What they realized is that President Ibrahim is like this glowing figure. And for me, I can understand this because we see him and we see the fight, and we are looking to join that revolution. Mm-hmm. There are people across the world that want to be a part of what's going on.
But why? Come on. He's a Black American. What the fuck do you have to do with Burkina Faso and what's going on over there? We are constantly sticking our noses everywhere else but in our own fucking communities. And then we wonder why we are looking as terrible as we are looking in the ghetto. Bad behavior all over the place. People calling out Black people for Black fatigue and all these types of things, because every time we turn around, we're concerned about every other community but our own. I wish Burkina Faso well. I hope that he will survive any attempt on his life and that his revolution continues on. But I'm not going to be a part of it. We got work to do here in America. But he is skewed in his thinking and believing that somehow we got to join in the festivities of what's going on in Burkina Faso. And this is why he was easily set up as a prey to the likes of Arikana to get him and others out of $1 million because of this delusion of thought that you could be a part of his revolution, that you should be throwing your money towards joining in the revolution. And this talk, again, was brought forth by Dr. Arikana. And I don't understand this man's claims to have been in the military, claims to be a man, and he looks to be at least 40-something years old. I don't understand why he can't think for himself and have critical thinking after all the experience of being in the military. But maybe the people of the military are so easily gullible to be told whatever, and they just follow orders. It is not our place to be concerned with Burkina Faso. It's not our place to be a part of their revolution. When things hit the fan in America, and they will, and they are as we speak, who's going to come to our rescue? Nobody. Like Keith Sweat says, nobody. We have men like him and others that should be leaders in our own fucking community, but they're looking to Africa instead. And we wonder why we have so many lost souls in America. And this, again, showcases why we are delayed and behind, because the men that's supposed to be leading in our own community here in America have tapped the fuck out, and they have decided to go to other places and wish upon a star. And they're looking very goofy out here, I might add. And this is why a lot of women is losing a lot of faith and hope in a lot of these men, because their priorities are fucked off, period.
Right? They have the calling. They've heard the ancestors. They've heard the spirits, and they're walking that walk. And what has happened is organizations have learned how to prey on them, because where we have failed is we didn't do our due diligence on our research. See, we trusted the name. We trusted her allure. We trusted.
What you have failed is being the leader that God has submitted for you to be. You a grown-ass man that has military experience. You should be gathering other men like yourself and help out our situation in America. But you're steadily looking for someone else to follow. And you chose Dr. Arikana as being your leader? Come on, man. You was a grown-ass man, and you looked to an Arikana, a woman, to follow behind and listen to her, to get directions from her as to what you're to believe in and think on for your grown-ass self as a man. It's shameful, it's despicable, but this is what's going on, and I don't like it. And this is why you were bamboozled, sir, because your priorities were fucked off to begin with. You should have been the man that God created for you to be. You should got together with other men in America and talk about what we're to do in America to help ourselves here. Instead, you have abandoned your own post in America, and you have went to other places to worship and to get this direct direction from Arikana, who happens to be a predatory scammer. And now you're confused on how this could have happened. And the reason why you're confused, because you did not know your worth. You were worshiping something that wasn't proven worthy of worship. And now you're looking goofy on this platform.
That angelic voice, right? But we have failed to.
Come on, angelic voice. Her voice sounds like the Grim Reaper. Give me a break. Come on, that is laughable. Again, she talks well and all, sounds passionate and all, but I seen through the bullshit day fucking one. I don't understand why y'all as grown men can't see what I see easily. That's the part that just really bothers me. I've been talking about Dr. Arikana since 2019. I've been screaming through the mountains about this woman. It was ignored over and over and over again, depicted as being an African hater. But no, I had discernment. I seen through her bullshit. I seen how she was using and abusing Black Americans, and she was putting us as the sacrificial lamb, trying to get us to hop on swords for the betterment of Africa, and forgetting about our own life, forgetting about our own future, making us soldiers for their cause and not our own. Why can I see this easily and this grown, big, strong, Black ass dude, man, can't? There's something really wrong with the water, or something's really wrong with the spirit of a lot of us in the community. Y'all need to get y'all shit together and wake the fuck up.
Fail to remember that the serpent had a sweet voice too. Lucifer, and I am not a Christian, so I don't want anybody to get upset, but Lucifer was a smooth talking individual. Right? Just because someone sounds good and they bring this echelon of making you feel good, it doesn't mean they have your best interest.
Duh. That's what I've been saying the whole entire time. I've been saying, yes, she says some things that sounds good and makes sense, but not for us as Black Americans. Not for us as a collective of people trying to survive in America. I said, look at what she's doing. She's using us and spitting us out. She's taking from us and leaving us with nothing. She is a slick, predatory, wannabe pimp in our community that has been allowed in simply because of the word of Pan-Africanism, just like a Umar Johnson. We all know Umar Johnson is garbage. We all know Umar Johnson is a fucking liar. Yet people today and always will swear that he is still legit because of the way he talks. And the way he talks to me is ridiculous. He repeats himself. He sounds like a narcissist. He sounds like a schizophrenic. He sounds psychotic to me. Yet people claim he's brilliant. People claim he's on point. People claim he knows what he's talking about. There is a disconnect. His spirit is off. His intention is off. Yet because of his talking points, people swear under the sun that he's a good guy. And then they swear under the sun that Dr. Arikana is also a good woman. And neither is true. Neither is true. And neither of them fooled me. But I'm so floored that so many people have been tricked and fooled by Dr. Arikana, by Umar Johnson, by all these Pan-African liars out here, panhandlers out here. I can't understand. But little old me with a little old channel gets ignored, but then I'm proven to be the one that knew when all is said and done. And this video basically is giving me confirmation as to what I've been saying for years. And people are scared to tell it like it really is. She is a predatory, lying ass scammer. She is a bitch witch that does not have anything good for us at all. She is only to take from us and run away into the sunset, into the hills. Until we regard ourselves as somebody worthy to be loved and to be known and acknowledged, these Pan-Africans and Africans will come along and keep pimping and tricking and baiting us. And I'm hoping that this video will resonate with the people that were kind of lost a little, to wake the fuck up and understand that we do not have allies. We do not have friends. We got to be our own friends. We have to get together and share our understanding and truths so that we are not always the ones that are being done dirty.
People have to understand that, and we as people have to hold them accountable, and we have to ask these tough questions. So again, I'm not calling her a thief. I'm not gonna call her
he ought to have called her a thief. This is what I'm talking about. He don't want to call her a thief. He still want to keep her image good and sound while she racked up over $1 million on these motherfuckers. Come on. She racked up over $1 million and he's still trying to preserve her honor.
I'm not going to even assume that she doesn't know how to manage funds. What I am going to say is, here's the tough question. Why is it every time your name is attached to something where you are collecting money from thousands of people, where you're collecting donations, why is it that it always, not only does it always fall through, but you do not have the integrity or the fortitude to address those people as equals and explain to them what went wrong? Why is it that you get have the audacity to talk to people as if they are beneath you when you lied to them? You have misrepresented facts. You have not stood in the quality of being this person that we uphold you to be. You are no different than the slave master that sold. When you go look at it, just because the Europeans were slave owners doesn't make the African slave owners any less guilty.
Hello world, greetings live from Italy, from Castello Gandolfo. Here we are and just found
the African slave owners any less guilty. We got to hold everyone accountable.
Jason,
Mm-hmm.
me and you kind of talked a little on messaging, WhatsApp and all, and you shared with me that you're a magistrate.
Well, yes, I'm not big. But we don't put that. Let's keep those two things separate. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, the only reason why I say that is because you know the legal jargons and the wording of, or you have a position to discern or determine certain things that might fall out of the law.
Yes.
Or things that
intent.
May be.
There's a question
of
intent. The intent
of
the fraud. Yes.
Yes.
The intent of the fraud.
Right.
And while I can't give a legal opinion, I can tell you from a personal reading and comprehension, the fact that you misrepresented the president, saying that he had signed a declaration that citizenship would be guaranteed to every ADBI member.
numerous times.
Now, Taylor, I see you amening and shaking your head, because I know that even for myself, I received all the emails. I've been on some Zooms, and the titles were definitely about, join the club, get your citizenship. Share with the people.
Streamline process, easy.
Okay, yeah.
Just follow these steps, and you submit your background check, submit your ID, submit your this and that. Simple. We'll submit it to the government. Citizenship. You're going to be. They were saying that basically we were going to be like the guests of the president. We're going to be the guests, the honored guests of the president. Yes, because what I would say is that in this lifetime, I believe most people will receive gifts. One of mine is I have a nose for lies, fraud, and deception like a bloodhound. And it may just be accidental. But especially since I decided, I moved here on July 8th.
If she really discerned like she claimed to discern, she would not have been burnt. She should have been out in front of it, warning people about what was coming. So I ain't buying that you got discernment. I got discernment. I was out front. I was telling the tale before the shit hit the fan. I talked about Arikana way back in 2019. I talked about Arikana with the Wakanda City. I talked about Arikana with this notion of her having a $500 million or $1 billion or $1 million loan from a so-called diaspora for the ADDI that's attached to it, that she had never gave a name to who she borrowed this money from, I believe back in 2020. I believe it's Akon, who was given $1 billion credit from the Chinese government. And I believe that she is trying to do everything in her power to make as many Black Americans as possible be connected to this debt that she has borrowed, taken on to herself back in 2020. I talked about this in my old video on my old channel that got snatched away by YouTube. She was discussing building and doing different things with this $500 million money that she got from somebody from the diaspora that she didn't name. I believe it to be Akon. And that debt she owes. And she's doing everything in her power, literally, to try to attach as many people to that debt by name, birth certificate, social security number, address, whatever, so that she can say that we share in the festivities of that debt. And everything that she does is trying to get as many people to be included in the festivities of that debt that she took on herself because of her greed. Again, she borrowed money, $500 million money, allegedly, from a so-called diasporan, to put towards building different things through her ADDI database. And that loan that she took is going to be owed and it needs to be paid back. And she is coming for the so-called slaves of old, Black Americans, to be debt slaves to these debts that I've been expressing in various videos, especially my old channel, where she said in her own words. But unfortunately, I don't have that channel up no more. YouTube snatched it. I'm just going by what I remember happened. And like I said, she borrowed a lot of money, talking about building different things, and she asked for $1 million donation to be applied to this so-called debt that she took on herself. And then she claimed that Ghana was going to go ahead and pay the rest of the debt through gold and other resources that were available. And she made it seem like the $1 million was going to do so much to get it jump start on the debt that she took on herself. I knew that that was not the truth. I knew that she was trying to put the whole entire debt that she borrowed, $500 million, through that ADDI database that she's been having since 2019, and that she was trying to place the whole entire debt onto Black Americans. She likes to say the word diaspora, but what she really means is Black Americans. That's why she constantly talks about African American this, African American that. That's why she comes up with schemes of citizenships or trying to be a part of anything pertaining to Africa. Why ain't she going to the Africans? Think about it. Why ain't she going to all the migrants that have fled Africa that are successful now, why won't she target them to assist her in her endeavors? No, she skips them, doesn't talk about them. She talks about the lost children of Africa. She tries to claim that we are the children of Africa, that we are a part of the diaspora of Africa, because she sees us as the slaves of old, and that we helped build the Western America with their riches and their cities and everything through slave trade, and the wealth that we built in America. In her mind, in the minds of many Pan-Africans and other Africans, they're saying, why not do it for them as well? This is how they look at us. And I've been trying to express that to my people and to others that will listen, the truth. This is discerning. This is my discernment. This is what I see. This is how she moves. It makes sense because of all the schemes that she comes up with that never materialize a reality of truth. But she's constantly getting money from us, like taking money from a baby, lets you know that she thinks she is entitled to our money. She's entitled to our heritage. She thinks she's entitled to our birthright. She thinks she's entitled to our life. In my mind, my discernment of Dr. Arikana is that she's a very, very wicked individual who should never, ever be skipped on or thought to be not insignificant. She's very significant in her movements and her intention. But because she's an older woman who talks passionate about, what's going on in Africa, people like to forget about what she's doing behind the scenes, what she's saying behind the scenes, and what her motives are. That's the problem. I cue in on the motives and on her intentions. And I have discerned that this woman is nothing of God, and she's not for Black Americans. She is trying to entangle us in the debt of Africa, in particular, in my opinion, China. China has done a lot of building for the last 10 plus years, railroads, roads, buildings. I believe they even built some type of big building that, what was it? Forgot what it was called, but it was a significant building that it was founded out that the Chinese had put like hearing devices in it. And it was like the main building, the main hub that China helped build. Anyways, there's a lot of debt that has been incurred under China to Africa, especially in Ghana and other Western countries. The development has been done by China, not by the Africans, because they don't know how to build. And this debt has to be paid back. This is why, in my opinion, the Go Back to Africa scheme came about in 2019. She was there as then the ambassador to the African Union. And at that time, the President Addi was there, and his cousin Atata, the Minister of Finance, was there. They concocted the scheme back in 2018 alongside of the Democrats alongside of Sheila Jackson Lee, in my opinion, Nancy Pelosi and others, the Democrats, to get together and formulate this year of return. She was all in on it. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were trying to use emotionalism to us who have never been to Africa, thinking about that $1 trillion spending power that's been televised that we have, to get us to go tour to Ghana. And what happened the first year that they invited us there? They garnered $1.9 billion for one measly year of the year return. And it was all strategic. It was all planned. It was all plotted. Dr. Arikana and her ilk were all on board to get us to go. And since it was so successful, they say, hey, why not do beyond the year return, which they're on right now? Now it's about citizenship in Burkina Faso, which fell to the wayside. Of course, the Wakanda City never materialized, but that just goes to show you how many ways and how many times they're going to continue to strike out, to come towards and force their schemes and scams onto us if you let them, if you believe them, if you take the bait. And it's my determination to wake y'all up and say, hell to the no. Fuck your scheme and scam. I'm not interested in citizenships, no matter where they come from. I'm not interested in Spike Lee trying to convince us, because he's now an ambassador, to try to influence us to get involved in Africa, I believe through BN. And also Sierra, what's her name? I think it's Sierra, the one that's married to the football player. She's a R&B singer. She's also some type of ambassador. People are definitely with propaganda to try to get us to be to be hemmed up by Africa affairs. But the good thing that's going on right now is that we have delineated years ago. We knew and smelled and discerned that something was not exactly right. I talked about the need to have our own identity separate from these immigrants coming over here. I've been discussing how detrimental it is for us to be a block of black, to be undefined, to be unknown, that the goal of Democrats and immigrants is to minimize our existence and our identity here in America, so that they have a going chance at taking over and undermining every effort that we have here in America. And that has been now realized, especially with Trump being in office. Trump has really showcased my truth. He has confirmed my truth. I had always said that people were jealous of our birthright. They were jealous of the fact that we could not be deported. They were jealous of the fact that we were American. And now you have all these mass deportations, all these detainments, and all these people scrambling and scared out of their mind because they don't have the certainty of being here in America as they had before with Biden and Kamala Harris. And I told you that many people were jealous of us for standing up for ourselves as a collective. That was the danger. And I'm so glad that the delineation movement has blown up, even though I don't claim per se to be an FBA, because I want to stand on my own feet. I have decided that we are more or less indigenous American blacks or indigenous black Americans to give us our own identity separate from immigrants, because they fear us having our own identity. That's why there's so much anger about what we're doing or not doing right now. And I'm telling my people that the likes of Arikana or Umar Johnson or anyone claiming to be Pan-African is that they're enemies to us having our autonomy, agency onto ourselves, separate from immigrants. They want us to be just like them. There is no benefit for us to be degraded to being an immigrant, to being someone illegal. But yet the Democrats and immigrants and migrants would love to see us in the same predicament as them. And this is why a lot of these people are on fire to date about us not protesting, us not throwing our bodies in front of the cops and feds and ICE for their sake. I'm so proud of my people to stand down and stay out of the way, because there's no benefit at all to be used as some type of body shield for everybody. But getting back to Arikana, she knows we do have power in our birthright. And she is trying to do everything to undermine our power having a birthright by having us think about other birthrights, having us think about other places in Africa on purpose. It is not to elevate us, it's to minimize and to be used as pawns for her game. And this is what I've been expressing for a very, very long time, but people don't like to hear it because they like to be lied to and they like to think about other thoughts that don't make sense at all. But now let's get back to Go Black to Africa. And this guy's going to break down a little bit more about what he's saying. I'm not totally impressed by how he's holding back, going in on Dr. Arikana like he should be doing. He's holding back for no reason, no good reason. But let's listen some more to this.
I moved here on July 18th. I moved here incredibly early because even when the first date got pushed back because of safety concerns that we heard that was not really what was happening. I, at that point, was feeling in my spirit that this was about to be disorganized. I started seeing the writings on the walls. So I decided, and for other reasons, to go ahead and move here, get myself stable, settled, and start figuring everything out.
Before we agree that a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, I'm going to need to know a little more about these birds.
Every woman has her own story, her own purpose. Warner's has been there for all of them, supporting everybody with comfortable solutions designed for every version of you. Warner's, all you need.
Domino's best deal ever is back. Any hand-tossed, pan, thin crust, or New York-style pizza with 80 toppings for just $9.99.
Get myself stable, settled, and start figuring everything out. When we started getting on these Zoom calls, and because they really were promoting this like this was this was some sort of big event. They're hyping it up. I started asking questions because I like to go and chat to people. I was hanging out at the airport and things, and one of the things that came up was, oh, hey, we're going to have vaccine upon arrival. Well, I just so happened to be at this airport a lot. Made quite a few friends at this airport. I started asking them, hey, so about this vaccine upon arrival thing, has ADDI reached out to you? about the vaccine upon arrival, because it's about late July, August at this time. And if we're all
So it's interesting that she would be told that there's going to be some sort of vaccine upon arrival. As you guys recall, we had the COVID situation where people were forced to get vaccinated or be tested for COVID, and they were charged for these tests as they traveled. And this seems like it was a potential scam that was told to her in this Zoom call about this so-called vaccination that was required while traveling. And it didn't happen, but she's mentioning it because it was told to her in the Zoom call that it was something that was to be happening when she landed. And she's describing that this was a discussion that happened, but it wasn't even going on like that, because they were like kicking around different scams that they could bring up and charges that they can bring forth. This is what that's all about. They were contemplating a vaccination scam. And she's talking about it because it never happened, but they talked about it in the Zoom call. I just want y'all to understand. They talked about it in the Zoom call. She happened to be there in Burkina Faso early, anticipating a citizenship a couple of months later. And she heard all this talk on the Zoom call about vaccination that never happened once she landed there. So in other words, it was hogwash, but they were definitely thinking about applying this new thought out vaccination in Burkina Faso to, again, get money, garner money from the people that were dumb enough to travel to Burkina Faso. Take a listen.
beginning here about what is October, November. With this many people coming in, this is something that you need to be preparing.
Listen
for.
to it again.
Hey, so about this vaccine upon arrival thing, has ADDI reached out to you, about the vaccine upon arrival, because it's about late July, August at this time. And if we're all supposed to be getting here about what is October, November, with this many people coming in, this is something that you need to be preparing for. This many vaccines. And then the staff that's going to be here. So I'm asking questions. I'm asking questions to the direct people that would be handling this in the airport. I'm getting their phone numbers, WhatsApp.
And what's so sad is that people are just acting like vaccinations are no biggie. Like anybody can just stick you with anything and you pay for it. And they just stick you with something at the airport. And she's telling that this discussion happened, but it didn't happen once she landed, but it was a thought that was thrown around with ADDI, Dr. Arikana, in a Zoom call. I want y'all to think about that. How many ways can they scam? How many ways can they make up something to tell you that you have to put your body, you got to pull your arm out for them to stick you with a needle to be vaccinated while they get paid. And God only knows what's in that vaccination. But she was willing and able to think it was okay to be vaccinated in Africa by so-called ADDI with their so-called conversation, like so fucking gullible. You know that there was a time in South Africa that AIDS or HIV was spreaded around through these needles, these vaccinations, these treatments in South Africa. That's how it was spreaded around. It was a fake doctor that went to South Africa and he spread it, HIV. And we are so gullible and capable of being caught up just like that with listening to this woman speak about this vaccination that was supposed to have happened. Think about it. that was supposed to have happened.
It's about late July, and if we're all supposed to be getting here about what is October, November, with this many people coming in, this is something that you need to be preparing for. This many vaccines, you know, and then the staff that's going to be here. So I'm asking questions. To the direct people that would be handling this in the airport. I'm getting their phone numbers, WhatsApps, and I'm like, hey, so what's going on with this? They're like, we don't know what you're talking about, first of all. Second of all, we don't do that. We've never done that.
But it's imagine if somebody wanted to, they could have stuck you with any type of thing that they desired, all behind what Dr. Arikana told you on a fucking Zoom call. That's my point. This woman was gonna be okay with being vaccinated in Burkina Faso because Dr. Arikana said so. And she's revealing that they never knew anything about this vaccination. It was an idea kicked around by Dr. Arikana, and she just revealed it, but it sounds very sinister to me. Let me go back and let you hear it in its entirety. My God, this is crazy.
For this many vaccines, you know, and then the staff that's going to be here. So I'm asking questions. To the direct people that would be handling this in the airport. I'm getting their phone numbers, WhatsApps, and I'm like, hey, so what's going on with this? They're like, we don't know what you're talking about, first of all. Second of all, we don't do that. We've never done that. And so I'm like, oh, you know, what do you mean? Like, nobody's reached out to you? Do you know who ADDI is? I'm here for my citizenship. Have you know, the year of return in Ghana, you know, these things, not ringing a bell. Have no idea what you're talking about. Never heard of any of this, what you're talking about. Oh, but here's our contact information. And if you can let us know closer to time, you know, we can help you figure this out. And I'm like, oh, okay. No, jots this down for later. Okay. Then,
so you're saying that...
But she would have been too late. She would have been already there. If somebody wanted to be sinister against her and give her a so-called vaccination that she agreed to because Dr. Arikana said, she would have been a good sheeple, a test tube sheeple to be applied upon with this vaccination. That's how scary this is. Anything could have happened based off of what Arikana said. And she was willing and able and going to be cooperative to be given an unknown specified vaccination in Burkina Faso because Dr. Arikana said. That's what I want you guys to really listen and hone in. I'm going to let it play in its entirety because this is the part that was unexpected in hearing. But this just shows how vulnerable and sinister others can be at a drop of a dime. And anyone that wants to do any harm to us could, because Dr. Arikana says, oh, you're going to have a vaccination upon arrival. You'll have to pay this much money too at the airport. She just didn't get her ducks lined up in a row. She did not get her business handled to get this vaccination charge. But the lady heard this information on a Zoom call, and she expected to have this vaccination upon arrival, and she was willing and able to do it without understanding the risk, not understanding that she could be a guinea pig, not understanding that this could be a hustle, a scam. But this is another scam that was potentially going to be done in the name of vaccination upon arrival. That's how easy it is to get us all caught up. And this is why I think that Dr. Arikana is very, very dangerous. And this is why I have called her out early before anybody. O'Shea Jackson did a great job calling Arikana out recently. I will show a clip or two about what he said later. Shout out to him, because I was definitely not liking O'Shea Jackson for the last few years. But with him coming out and calling out Dr. Arikana and these fake birth, what do you call it, citizenships, it is basically made things right because of the exposure of what they tried to get away with. And to be in Africa and exposing stuff that's going on, you're taking a risk being in Africa and exposing stuff. So you got to give kudos where kudos should be. I want you guys to really listen and hit the like button. I know I have a lot of haters and people that don't want to support me, but we have a real diabolical demon in our midst pertaining to Dr. Arikana. And I want you to hear yet again, this woman in this video was told on a Zoom call that once she stepped down or touchdown in Burkina Faso, that she was going to get some type of vaccination upon arrival. She was told that. It wasn't so, but that's because she didn't get her ducks lined up in order to be able to get that money from her to be vaccinated with God knows what. Listen to it.
Hey, so about this vaccine upon arrival thing, has Addi reached out to you, about the vaccine upon arrival? Because it's about late July, August at this time. And if we're all supposed to be getting here about, October, November, with this many people coming in, this is something that you need to be preparing for. This many vaccines. And then the staff that's going to be here. So I'm asking questions. I'm asking questions to the direct people that would be handling this in the airport. I'm getting their phone numbers, WhatsApps, and I'm like, hey, so what's going on with this? They're like, we don't know what you're talking about, first of all. Second of all, we don't do that. We've never done that. And so I'm like, oh, what do you mean? Like, nobody's reached out to you? Do you know who Addi is? I'm here for my citizenship. Have the year of return in Ghana, these things, not ringing a bell. Have no idea what you're talking about. Never heard of any of this, what you're talking about. Oh, but here's our contact information. And if you can let us know closer to time, we can help you figure this out. And I'm like, oh, okay. No, jots this down for later. Okay. Then
so you're saying that things started to add up, starting to add up, and it's
Yeah, but also that's my discernment. That's one of my gifts. I have a nose like a bloodhound. I tell people all the time, don't go doing no wrong and no crookedness. You scam.
You ain't got no discernment. You were available to become victimized by this so-called potential vaccination upon arrival. How are you discerning when you were going to be there to be stuck in the arm? That's not discernment. You were a guinea pig. You just were lucky for her not to line up a vaccination upon arrival. You were spared of it because she didn't get her shit together, but she spoke that as something that she thought to do. Arikana thought to give you, miss, a vaccination upon arrival, but she didn't follow it through. You are not discerning if you're there with your arm up in the air to be stuck. Okay, but you are a whistleblower to the fact that she had in mind for you to be charged a vaccination upon arrival that she did not finalize. Therefore, that was another idea that Dr. Arikana had for you to be charged, and it did not work. So you're not discerning. You were a victim that was freed from being victimized, but you were able to tell the tale of the notion of her wanting to vaccinate you upon arrival, this Dr. Arikana. That's what happened, okay? And I'm glad that this is on this video to reveal the lengths of what people will do to garner money from us, whether it be a fake vaccination upon arrival, whether it be a fake citizenship, whether it be a fake Wakanda City, whether it would be a fake donation to this and to that and the third, all these different things that people can come up with to make up, to try to get us to fork out monies to the scams that they have devised in their mind. That's what's going on here. This is proof and confirmation to how diabolical Dr. Arikana is to suggest upon arrival vaccinations. Like she's like trying to carry forward the COVID situation, the COVID testing and all that, the monies that were garnered from that. She's trying to squeeze out more from us with the notion of a vaccination, but she did not follow it through, and so the story was told and did not happen. But the point of the matter is she thought to do it. She thought to do it, and she's telling it, not discerning. At least she's a whistleblower. Let's go.
And grannies and doing all this stuff near me. I'm not holding you. You're out here literally destroying people's lives. By all means, you're a Robin Hood. You know, you take us from the 1% and you're helping the poor and the impoverished. Okay, you know, but you're doing actual dirt. You're destroying lives and things. Don't do that around me. I'm not gonna sit quietly upon that. I'm a social justice warrior. I went to school for social work, and I'm serious about it. So.
Let me ask both of you all this question. I did a video when there was this initial journey to Burkina Faso about a year or so ago. Over a year or so ago, a group of people went to Burkina Faso. Were y'all part of that group?
Wait, if you were detained at any California women's prison, such as Chowchilla Women's Facility, Folsom, or California Institute.
Over a year or so ago, a group of people went to Burkina Faso. Were y'all part of that group? No. Because what I'm hearing you saying, James, is that, excuse me, Jason, that there's not really a tie between the president and Dr. Arikana, or what?
Okay, no. I'm not saying there's not a tie, right? You can meet someone, you can talk to someone. What I'm saying is the entire government has stayed, there's nothing that says that they were ever awarded, they were in process of doing a citizenship for the diaspora. It had nothing to do with ADDI. Okay, so I don't want to make sure I clarify, because again, I think I sent you the transcript between me and the ambassador, right?
Yes.
He's been on multiple calls. It has now went from this was what was happening to no, it was just a wish. right? That was in his messages I sent to you. I made sure because I asked him, I said, hey, you know that we were robbed. You know this. We asking you to come and have a conversation, not being led by ADDI. I asked him specifically. I made sure I did it in French so that there would not be any misunderstanding or mistranslation, because I gave him the benefit of the doubt. And he refused to have a meeting with the group not being led by ADDI. So is there a government, is there a tie between her and the government? Well, yes, there is a tie to the point of we know each other and we might all be collecting and working in commiserate together. I cannot speak, I cannot tell you that. What I can tell you is that the government, and we've asked, so again, this is something that maybe when Dr. Africana sees this, she can come on and she can defend, but the people who are members have said, well, where's the paperwork? Because we have numerous Zoom calls where you stated the president signed a declaration that was granting all of us citizenship.
And on the citizenship list.
There was a citizenship list. There's been multiple times where we've asked in the Zoom calls, hey, well, who is getting citizenship? If you're receiving the emails, you are receiving citizenship.
And that's also, there's a paper trail of that too.
There's a paper trail. See, we're not here to say, well, she doesn't know this person or she doesn't know this person or that she doesn't have a connection.
Right, right.
What we're saying is, you jumped out on a ledge and you said, hey, I'm going to tell the world that we have the direct contact that is going to guarantee citizenship for your organization, for our organization and its members. And that gave you notoriety because the majority of your people who joined because of the citizenship promise.
And paid the membership fee.
The membership fee. This is what they asked for. So then when you start seeing, again, you start seeing a pattern. And you start seeing that when things start not going right, the conversation is not about, it's always the government's fault. That's what Wakanda, somebody stole the money, somebody took this, it's not us, but then it's no conversation about accountability, right? I heard you say what you said in the beginning of your conversation, when you say that things do fall. Things do fall apart, especially when dealing with foreign entities. We do understand that. But you have 1,200 members, and let me explain something to you. You got people who are network specialists. You got people who major in business. You got people who are very intellectual that understand the concept of business. And there are things that does happen. But here's what never happens. By being a 501c, right, there are laws that protect the members of her organization. There's also a requirement for transparency.
Yeah.
You can't then come and say that we don't have to honor that and we're going to stand and belittle you and talk down to the members. And this is all recorded.
Yes.
So, and it's not us, and we are just representatives. Let me say that. I want to make sure everyone on your thing knows that there are hundreds of people who are, in fact, that have the exact same, we just were chose to represent, right? There are people who are going through, so I don't want to say, and I also want, before I'm going to pass it off, but I want this to be made quite clear. I've listened to Dr. Africana, all right? I've listened to her just like I've listened to a lot of snake oil salesmen, a lot of car salesmen, and I've listened to pastors, right? They all have this common denominator. When things are not right, they like to try and make the victim the bad person. Recently, Dr. Africana, in her video recorded, tried to position people to say that we were spies and we were trying to take her down. You know, it's the same rhetoric that she talks about when it comes to being fired from Let me make this.
Again, it's easy to discard and spit us out, be sacrificed, be sacrificial lambs. Arikana was trying to put the blame and gaslight the victims of what she's done against them, and people are falling for the okie dokie. And I'm only doing this video to showcase the truth, and the truth is these people on this platform, on this video right here and now, these two, the guy and the woman right here, were victims of the schemes and scam of Dr. Arikana for this Burkina Faso citizenship that never was. They ultimately, 1,200 of them approximately, paid over $1 million for this scam that a citizenship was supposed to come, but out of the blue, it never was to come, and that money and effort was still spent towards that. Not only did I showcase that, but I'm showcasing also in the video that the woman at the bottom happened to mention that there was supposed to be some type of vaccination upon arrival. She let the cat out the bag. She was not supposed to say nothing, but she did because she was there early. And it showcased that Arikana had other plans and other deceits to try to get more money out of them for going to Burkina Faso and search for the citizenship. And they were willing to be guinea pigs for a vaccination upon arrival. And it did not materialize once she landed, but she brought it up to the people there at the airport, and they said they didn't know nothing about it. So that just goes to show that Arikana had this in mind to scam and scheme, and she was fortunate enough to get the truth on video that you can rewind and see what she had said. My point is, there's nothing honorable about Dr. Arikana. There's nothing honorable about Pan-Africans overall. They look to victimize the so-called diaspora, and especially Black Americans. That's my truth that I've been trying to divulge to the public. A lot of people don't want to hear. I'm not very popular because I'm plain Jane and I just speak the truth. And a lot of times I discern before things happen, and people want us to be crashed upon. They want the crash dummy effect. They want the devastation. They want us to be doomed and done. I'm trying to be before the doom and dumb of stuff. And that's why I'm not liked. Unfortunately, you would think someone would like someone that's trying to catch stuff before it happens, that wants to block stuff before it occurs. But somehow my spirit, my truth, my discernment has been put out there as being fucked up. And people that have to go through getting scammed and schemed upon is better off than someone that's trying to catch things before they occur. Think about how stupid that is. But that's the reality of the Black community. That's my truth. I want to wake y'all the fuck up, though. Let's go.
Real clear, right? I am a brother who believes in the power of our people. I'm a brother that believes that we are stronger together and we are united together. It hurts me to my heart to see someone that I would look up as my elder, as my grandmother, to look and think of her in this light. It breaks me to have to say that this woman has acted in direct defiance to what our ancestors are moving.
But she did, and he has the proof, but he's having a hard time accepting the truth. What's up, Edek? Thank you for coming through. He said, what happened to your other lives? You didn't them. Unfortunately, I did get rid of them because I felt like I wasn't being supported There weren't a lot of likes. I shared songs on those lives. And people disrespected me, you know. So you ain't got to like share in me. You don't have to share the essence of me if you don't believe in me. I've only shown y'all time and time again the fucking truth. And yet I am disparaged and disrespected a lot. So yeah, EDEC, I got rid of those videos. I deleted those videos. You know, it's unfortunate. But, you know, people that can catch my truth, I must admit, I will admit, I'm not very good at speaking, being articulate. I'm good at discerning and observing and dissecting stuff. That's what I do. And people want to be entertained. People want to laugh. People want to be filled with all kinds of emotions. They don't want truth. They don't want understanding, and they don't want to be spared. I'm here to spare you. I'm here to give you wisdom before stuff hit the fan. And yet I am not appreciated and respected. And it did bother me. So I did away with those videos. I'm sorry about that. Please like, share, and subscribe. But again, this video I'm not going to take down because it's about Arikana, the biggest predator that we have in our midst to date. EDEC is Dr. Arikana Kwao, and I've talked about her since 2019. You know it. Anyone that has been following me, this is my third channel that I've had on YouTube. People that understand me and respect the truth, even if it comes before it happens, it's still the truth. Time and time again, I have proved that what I said and what I say is the truth. It's just not, it's not packaged in a way that is receivable by the masses for some reason. But we don't have the luxury, in my opinion, to be caring about the packaging of how the message is brought. The truth should just be available for us to know. EDEC says, your voice is great and important to me. I'm so glad you say that. I have been so discouraged, EDEC. I'm going to be honest. And the only reason why I'm doing this live, because I can't let people take credit for talking about Arikana when I've been talking about her since 2019. I am the first. I took the hits. But this is all about God. It's all about us as Indigenous American Blacks. I am for advocating for us. I am an advocator, a defender, a warrior for us. Nobody gives a damn about Black Americans like we should give a damn about ourselves. Even though I feel like I'm in a damn corner alone without any support, from time to time, I will come out here and I will tell the truth and reveal the truth and hurt many, many diabolical, demonic individuals that are pissed that I would reveal the truth. And hopefully people will appreciate the truth as it is. I took a break, but now I'm back. This video will stay up, no less. This video will stay up. I promise you.
To make sure that I clarify, because there's going to be a lot of people that says, no, she's a great person, and you heard her speak. I want to make sure that people understand that we are actually on the...
He is talking about Arikana. He's breaking down the fact that people have put her on a pedestal as a great speaker. But she's a scammer. She's a liar. She's a manipulator. She's a wannabe pimp. She is the hater of the indigenous American black. Facts. She's the hater of the black American that is not an immigrant. Facts. She is the hater of people that call themselves foundational black Americans, ADOS, Native Black American, Indigenous Black American. If you don't call yourself African, if you don't call yourself subjected under the jurisdiction of Africans and having them reign over you supreme, you are her enemy. And she is mine. And I've been trying to tell my people for the longest time that this bitch witch has had it out for us since the beginning. And people joked about me, called me crazy, said I hate Africans. I can't tell the truth. Everybody else can speak, but I can't tell the truth. Because why? I'm early in telling the truth. That's why they're mad. That's why y'all mad. I'm early telling the truth before you did what you thought you were going to do. That's why you mad. You don't want somebody tripping you up on your diabolical schemes and scams. I'm there before you do it. That's why I'm hated. The Lord has blessed me with this gift, and I'm so happy that I am in tune with the Most High. I praise the Most High. Glory to God. Glory for him to reveal to me things that are not revealed to most. But listen to him.
It breaks me to have to say that this woman has acted in direct defiance to what our ancestors are moving. I want to make sure that I clarify, because there's going to be a lot of people that says, no, she's a great person, and you heard her speak. I want to make sure that people understand that we are actually on the ground trying to move this forward. We want brothers and sisters to not only get their citizenship, and it doesn't matter whether it's Burkina Faso, it doesn't matter whether it's Sierra Leone. We want them to get this. We want them to be able to pass it down to their children.
But we don't need citizenship. This is where he is wrong. This is where we have a problem with men leading. This man was in the military, and he's assuming that we need citizenship in Africa. Who fucking says? Who is he to say that we need citizenship in Africa? Well, at the same time, to date, migrants, illegals, Africans are fearing being snatched from America and taken back to their homelands. You have agents such as he, who was a part of the military before, declare we need citizenships in Africa. That is not the truth. He is not my representative. He is not our representative. How could he be? He is working, to me, as an agent, in my opinion. And many military types seem to be on that vibe of being useful fools, crash dummies, to say stupid shit as if we got to do something that they are declaring we got to do. We ain't got to do shit but stand still in America. He is not my leader. He is not my voice. He's saying the truth about what Arikana has done, and yet he still is on the side of we got to be involved in Africa. So he is basically an agent. Listen to him. How foolish. I'm going to rewind it a little bit. I want you to get the gist of what he just said.
I want to make sure that I clarify, because there's going to be a lot of people that says, no, she's a great person, and you heard her speak. I want to make sure that people understand that we are actually on the ground trying to move this forward. We want brothers and sisters to not only get their citizenship, and it doesn't matter whether it's Burkina Faso, it doesn't matter whether it's Sierra Leone. We want them to get this. We want them to be able to pass it down to their children, their children's children's children. We want them to learn. We are not spies. We are not interlopers. We are not people that are trying to cause division. What we are saying is this. She is literally has now, on her latest flyer, it has Dr. Umar on there. Right? Her latest flyer has Dr. Umar.
So in addition to the scandal of Arikana, Dr. Arikana, she is trying to bosom up with Dr. Umar Johnson, who I don't even like to call a doctor. But because of the ridiculousness of the community, to accept this man as being relevant in the community, she would go so low to use a guy who does not raise his kids, who does not look out for his daughter, who is homeless, one of them right now, who goes all over the world talking about Pan-Africanism, dipping and dodging and diving in different women. But he's not a family man to his own seed. She would choose to link up with him for namesake because she thinks he has influence for the dummies that do. This is why we're ridiculous right now. I'm so embarrassed and ashamed by most of y'all. The fuck is going on? Let me rewind this so you catch the whole vibe. Catch the whole shit right here.
Let me tell you.
I saw that.
But I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you raw. Because I'm going to say this. When the demons are doing wrong, they call other demons.
Let me rewind it. I didn't get it that far. Let's do it right here.
And it's this. She is literally has now, on her latest flyer, it has Dr. Umar on there.
Listen to it again, y'all.
It doesn't matter whether it's Sierra Leone. We want them to get this. We want them to be able to pass it down to their children, their children's children's children. We want them to learn. We are not spies. We are not interlopers. We're not people that are trying to cause division. What we are saying is this. She literally has now forward, and we are united together. It hurts me to my heart to see someone that I would look up as my elder, as my grandmother, to look and think of her in this light. It breaks me to have to say that this woman has acted in direct defiance to what our ancestors are moving. I want to make sure that I clarify, because there's going to be a lot of people that says, no, she's a great person, and you heard her speak. I want to make sure that people understand that we are actually on the ground trying to move this forward. We want brothers and sisters to not only get their citizenship, and it doesn't matter whether it's Burkina Faso, it doesn't matter whether it's Sierra Leone. We want them to get this. We want them to be able to pass it down to their children, their children's children's children. We want them to learn. We are not spies. We are not interlopers. We're not people that are trying to cause division. What we are saying is this. She is literally has now, on her latest flyer, it has Dr. Umar on there. Right? Her latest flyer has Dr. Umar. Let me tell you.
I saw that.
But I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you raw. Because I'm going to say this. When the demons are doing wrong, they call other demons to ensure that they can promote and continue to do demonic work. Notice I didn't call him a demon. I didn't call her a demon, because I want to make sure I clarify. When demons...
But they're both demons. This dude is not representing the Most High. Dr. Umar Johnson, so-called doctor, and Dr. Arikana Chihombe Kwao are both demons. They are not for the betterment of Black Americans, indigenous to America. They think we're supposed to be sacrificed for the betterment of Africa. That's how they look at us. That's what they think of us. That's it. That's all. That's why they keep coming back over and over and over again to scam and scheme from us, because we're gullible and we're useful fools if you allow them to do so to you. That's the reality that I've been trying to showcase on my channel, which has been very, very difficult to do because I'm not supported the way in which I should be. But God got my back for sure. The truth is the truth, and you cannot run from the truth no matter what. Okay?
They're doing wrong. See, the truth doesn't need help.
The new Fam Feast with 8 pieces of fire grilled chicken. Let's get loco. El Pollo Loco.
If you're carrying extra 30 pounds, on Monday, October 13th, we start the calisthenics program. For beauty.
Demons are doing wrong. See, the truth doesn't need help to be the truth. See, when we're speaking right now, we're saying, hey, you want the document? We already done brung, we done already recorded, we done already pulled the videos. I made sure I shared things that we have when we have multitudes. We came with records and receipts, right?
Yes.
I want to make sure we clarify, because what's going to come out, and what's going to come out because we're now getting people with notoriety. They're going to say that this small faction is just trying to disrupt. Well, I'm here to tell you this, and this goes for anybody who stands with that. I got receipts and records. I stand on business 24/7 when it come to mine. I want to make sure that I clarify this young lady, Taylor, moved there on the ground trying to help people. She's not a spy. She's not an interloper. Sister Liz, these are people who are truly want to help. I want to also make sure we say this to President Ibrahim. We do not feel that he did any wrong. We don't feel, because we want to make sure, because it's being misclassified, even in her last video, that, well, he promised, but he fell through. It was just something he wanted to do, but the government took that from him. See, go ahead.
Let me interject. I'm going to pass the mic here in a second, and I appreciate you sharing. You know, one of the reasons I asked about where you all attend that first journey to Burkina Faso about a year, half, 2 years ago. I can't remember how long ago it was. I try to find any footage of Dr. Arikana and President Ibrahim Traoré together, shaking hands, whatever, and I can't find any. I see where people have pasted her face and his face and joined them together, but I have yet to find that she has had personal contact with him. Now, I'm not saying she didn't. I'm just saying internet's huge and pictures go flying and people, you can see all these things. So I did that in my research just to see, because of the fact that when you share with me, Jason, that, you know, this whole thing about the citizenship, and me and you had the conversation that this was not about Burkina Faso denying any African American or the ADI members of their citizenship. It was a whole, as anyone who was applying. We then had a discussion that, you know, here in Ghana, they have two paths you can go to try to get your citizenship. One is through the Ministry of Interior, but the president has his own program for the diaspora of issuing citizenships. So I'm getting an understanding from what you all shared and all the information I got from others, is that this process of getting people citizenship from Burkina Faso was ADDI was just going to represent you all and go through the normal process of getting citizenship. And y'all going to pay because you could have done the legwork yourself. But we're going to be the ones to go ahead and do it for everybody. Not that there's just that we're going to go through the president and he's going to issue a citizenship from his own accord, but yet it seems that they went the typical route doing the legwork for the people.
Yes, they use the fact that we failed to do our due diligence, right?
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah, so I get that. The way they tailored it was that the president had signed the proclamation. So we don't know, and this is where it gets real convoluted. When we've asked now for that proclamation, because we've asked to exonerate any kind of mistrust. If he signed a proclamation, because it's been stated on numerous calls, it's been stated. If he signed it, then this is where what you said becomes factual. Things fall through.
Yeah.
But the fact that no one from ADDI has shown that proclamation.
Produced the proclamation.
And then the fact that the ambassador has made it clear that there was never an intent to grant citizenship. That it was a wish. So now somebody is lying, and this is my problem with this. Either, and again, I'm not calling her a liar, because I'm giving her the opportunity to stand and say, oh no, we have it.
He ought to call her a liar, but again, a bitch ass nigga such as him would try to let her skip away from accountability. For what reason? You're supposed to be used to be military guy, and yet you're soft as fucking Charmin. The fuck is going on? But you know, it's crazy. We're gonna break it down after he talks, but I want y'all just to remember he's talking about citizenship that was never given and never had no intention to be given, yet money was taken, over $1 million for 1,200 of the so-called diaspora and Black Americans, the people that were influenced by Dr. Arikana. And they want to twist it around and make it seem like we are at fault when she laid out a lie of citizenship. Period.
Either she's a liar and she lied on the president of Burkina Faso, or president of Burkina Faso misrepresented and was not able to come through. But one of them have to be true. We as ADDI members that said, show us the proclamation. That's all. You want to clear everything up? Show us the proclamation. And that has not been shown. It's been a lot of lip service. It's been a lot of, well, you know, I dare you accuse us of such things.
Okay, I'm back.
It's not been. So if there's a proclamation, then what you said in the beginning of your show, it holds weight. It says, okay, he signed it, it fell through, and you know what? I'll be the first one to apologize. I will be the first one.
I mean, I'm about show the facts, show the receipts, produce it for the people. You have the duty to produce to the people. If you say something and you claim there's a proclamation, then just show the people so that it put them at ease. We won't have to go through this. But there again, when you can't produce it, you stand looking guilty. Let me pass it back to Lizzie. What's happening?
How are you?
All right.
There's a few points I want to add on to my brother Jason and Sister Taylor's synopsis here.
Sure.
Keep this in mind, that all of the persons who were initially going to go on this voyage to get citizenship, this activity was going to continue to go on if ADDI had not been exposed. ADDI got exposed within a small group of the original 1,200, because everyone that was slated to go on this trip, they are not in this particular WhatsApp group. So what happened was one of the members of that group put something in the group on or about September 18th, 19th, basically indicating that there was not going to be any citizenship. That's just to give you a synopsis. It was a long message that the brother had put in there. So, of course, initially, when everyone saw that, they were getting angry with him because they thought that he was sowing seeds of discord, which in actuality, the brother was not. The brother was spot on. So people began to contact ADDI leadership, the admin team, about what was posted in the WhatsApp group. And then all of a sudden, on September the 29th, there was an emergency meeting happening, okay? So I want to get this clear, how this thing was going to continue to permeate as a lie and as a fraudulent venture in this sense of citizenship, had no one ever came out on or about September the 18th, 19th with that information. Now, how this brother knew, he's not here to speak to how he knew, so we won't get into that, okay, with him posting this particular message. So that's one point. They were going to continue the fraud all the way up until people got into Burkina. And what we have deducted is they would have continued it. And once people got on ground, Go Black, they were going to say, okay, well, the government's not offering citizenship. They're going to give you permanent residency. That's what was going to happen. Because all of a sudden now you have this meeting. Now I want to backtrack just a little bit even before that. Another issue came up after the July 19th Zoom call, okay? That issue was about a $500 registration fee, okay?
Out of nowhere, this $500 registration fee came up.
Yes.
I don't know.
Now, this fee, since March, and everyone had been submitting, and they've been sending all these emails, this fee never came up. It never came up until this particular Zoom call, all right? So they brought it up. There was a lot of, there was not a lot of clarity about this $500. It was very ambiguous. So on subsequent calls, they began to hammer this list about what was going to be needed for this. Basically, $150,000 party. People on the Zooms were saying, hey, we don't even want that crap. How about we use this money into the local economy, onto the people? Because one, you all keep saying, well, we need to donate books, laptops, medical supplies, blah, 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 blah. So people wanted that money to go there versus a freaking pool party and wearing berets and then saying, well, we're going to go meet the president of Mali, the president of Niger, etc. This is in all of the Zoom calls. So I want to say this too, Go Black. I'm going to be a little bit long-winded. All of these people who are in the chat right now, because her followers, if you will, they over here, a lot of them are caping for her. And a lot of them are doing this for one simple reason, and it is because she is an elder. And so they want to negate the scam nature of the elder. And you know my policy. Pardon my vernacular. I don't give a damn what your age is. If you scamming your own, then you're going to get it. Just like the 9-year-old who's going to be scamming. Just like the 30-year-old who's going to be scamming. So I say this about the 500. So here's the caveat to that. So now you got all this banter and chatter about this $500 in that same WhatsApp group where they got exposed. So people are asking for clarification and all this. They have another Zoom, pardon me, to try to clear up some of that. Again, people still did not want this party crap going on. That is not what our intent was. The intent was never that. So while all of this is going on, she has people on her admin team that are very vile gutter snipes. And now you know I can talk crazy and I can cuss like a sailor, okay? The way Anthony, I'm saying his name, the way he speaks to people as if he basically has dominion over all black humans on planet Earth, it is ridiculous. And because they do not have a protocol in place when they have member meetings to get rid of this man or silence him, nothing was ever done. He subsequently would get on continue Zoom meetings and continue to belittle people and talk crazy to people. And it's not only him, Benson as well. They talk so disgusting to people. And it's like, hold up. Now, you've gotten all this money from people and you still talking, I mean, you're talking grimy to people. Whereas if I saw you face to face, would you still be that grimy? It's really, really bad. They are not keeping with a professional organization. Let me say that. Because even as a 501c3, there are protocols on how you conduct business. They are not conducting business in a proper way. I want to say something else about this donation, this $500. When people that were actually paying the $500, it should have said registration. Guess what it started saying? Donation. Now, Anthony and all the rest of them tried to basically speak down to the fact of that. But we know with basic accounting 101 that to put registration versus donation, those are two different things. And we know why. So while all these people are saying, well, you got refunded and blah, blah, listen, and Jason and Taylor will tell you, there are people who have had to contact ADDI 5 and 6 times to get all of their money back. Do you know why, Go Black? Primarily because they got on a Zoom and Dr. Arikana goes, well, that money is all spent. Lying.
Most Americans don't know their normal blood pressure, and that's one of the leading causes of death in America. White coat hypertension is just a waste of your time. Check out this wrist blood pressure monitor instead. No need to roll up your sleeve. Just wrap it around your wrist, press a button, and it electronically reports your high blood pressure, low blood pressure, and blood sugar. One charge lasts up to 200 uses.
Primarily because they got on a Zoom and Dr. Arikana goes, well, that money is all spent. Lying. You haven't spent that money. And secondly, you don't even have a procedure in place that you gave your members to tell them what goes on with the operational costs of membership and events. So you cannot deny them their full amount of money for a refund. But you did that to put it as a donation to say, well, you can't get your money back from a donation. The devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. So
liberation to the people.
Did you hear that she said that Arikana said the money was spent? Whoa, let's listen to that one more again. I don't want to miss a little bit. And after this, we're going to go to O'Shea Duke Jackson and listen to what he had to say. I am so elated that he spoke the truth in the way that he did. As I have said in the beginning, I am not meant to be a speaker. I'm meant to be someone that divulges information. And the more speakers that come out will allow me not to speak, and I'm so happy about that. But I want you to hear what she had to say about Arikana, because she's been getting away with a lot, yo.
The fact of that. But we know with basic accounting 101 that to put registration versus donation, those are two different things. And we know why. So while all these people are saying, well, you got refunded and blah, blah, listen, and Jason and Taylor will tell you, there are people who have had to contact ADDI 5 and 6 times to get all of their money back. Do you know why, Go Black? Primarily because they got on a Zoom and Dr. Arikana goes, well, that money is all spent. Lying. You haven't spent that money. And secondly, you don't even have a procedure in place that you gave your members to tell them what goes on with the operational costs of membership and events. So you cannot deny them their full amount of money for a refund. But you did that to put it as a donation to say, well, you can't get your money back from a donation. The devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. So
liberation to the people.
I'm saying, so all of these different things, just as Jason and Taylor has laid out here, it's just a culmination of months. People, just as Jason said, even with documentation, people have been asking, we have the messages. People have been asking ADDI for documents about the authority from the president of Burkina Faso, and all they would get is basically confirmation verbally, never any tangible documentation. And I keep saying there again, if that September 18th, 19th message had not gone out on WhatsApp, they would have continued the fraud. Could you imagine? We didn't know how many people had initially signed up. They came on one Zoom meeting, and Arikana is the one that said, she said we have over 1,000 people. On the next Zoom, she said that's over 1,200 people. So let's just say you remove 3% of 1,200 people and multiply that by $365, and that'll tell you how much money you get. I say move 3% because there's some people that became members that do not live in the United States. Okay? I was one of them. So the mere fact that they continued this and then brought up an additional $500 fee, okay, and tried to tie that in to saying at first what they said was even with the 500 too, and they can attest to this. Well, in order to get the citizenship, you must pay the $500. People was like, oh no. Yeah. That's not what you said, because they just kept adding stuff on. We have a sheet that they put all this stuff on saying how much it was going to be for these berets, how much for t-shirts, how much for backpacks, how much for language. I'm talking about
they kept adding shit on, she said. That's what they continually do. They see us as cash cows. They see us expendable, disposable. I've been trying to tell my people about how people look at us and it doesn't register for some reason. But then there's victims that come out and tell the truth. I wish that, the Black community could work in unison collectively with the pros of what their own has to offer. Not everybody's the same. But to be preyed upon is not cool. And it could be avoided if people listen to others to talk about what we see. I'm going to go back just a little bit on her. And then I'm going to follow it up with O'Shea Jackson. But listen to what she had to say. I would think that she is a very apparent, transparent individual that is showcasing the truth as she sees it and what had happened to her. And she's letting it all out. Listen to her. Don't let nothing fall to the wayside. Understand that this lady that spoke earlier about a vaccination upon arrival, she revealed how Arikana had in mind to charge at the airport for a vaccination, something to stick you with. Okay? But listen to this lady now, what she has to say.
3% of 1,200 people and multiply that by $365, and that'll tell you how much money you get. I say move 3% because there's some people that became members that do not live in the United States. Okay? I was one of them. So the mere fact that they continued this and then brought up an additional $500 fee, okay, and tried to tie that in to saying at first what they said was even with the 500 too, and they can attest to this. Well, in order to get the citizenship, you must pay the $500. People was like, oh no. Yeah. That's not what you said, because they just kept adding stuff on. We have a sheet that they put all this stuff on saying how much it was going to be for these berets, how much for t-shirts, how much for backpacks, how much for language. I'm talking about a flagrant abuse of funds of its members. So there again, I say all of these people over here in the chat who are running up behind Dr. Arikana Scamala, okay? I'm calling the woman a scam. Now I'm going to be undemocratic, undiplomatic like Jason, and I'm calling her a liar. Because she got caught on the 29th of September when she said on that Zoom call, what she said was, she slipped up and said, yes, we've known for 30 days. So they knew from September 29th They knew a full 30 days prior to that Zoom call that the Burkina Fasoan government was not going to authorize citizenship. But they could not tell all of these people who were going for the simple fact why. They were going to lose thousands of dollars. Thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yes, hundreds of thousands. Definitely.
600,000. I mean, 1,200 times 500, $600,000.
But keep in mind, you already had the money from the membership. You already had the money from the membership. So,
well, I will say this right here. I will say this in the defense that it costs for processing. It costs to get applications and passports and all that stuff. Right.
Why is he speaking in defense? What is wrong with our people? Let me take the time one more time to talk about Arikana and her true firing as the ambassador to the African Union. This was dated, let me see if I have a date. It was from the African Union in Ethiopia. It was a letter that was written by them, submitted to the State Department. I happened to find this document in 2019 at a law library. Prior to that, I heard of a white guy who was from South Africa who learned of Arikana being fired and why. And he talked about it in great length about what she did. And I didn't want to take his word for it singularly. I didn't want to just believe him by himself. So I went to a law library and I inquired about the firing of Arikana Chair Hombre Quao. And I got this notice, this letter written by the African Union. For those that are confused, here is the letter, and what it states, you'll see it's legitimately the African Union. Okay? I got this letter talking about the firing of Dr. Arikana. Literally. I'm going to read what it states as a reminder as to why we should not fuck with a Arikana, Chair Hombre Quao. She already scammed. She already had a taste for blood for what she did and got away with, and she carried it forward with scamming us. And I've been trying to tell my people this fact. It's been very hard to do, but I'm going to slip that in real quick. It says, let me just let you read this word. I don't even know this word. Read that. Read that. Read it. And I'm going to read what I can read. It's partly in French or whatever. Communique of the African Union Commission regarding the continued misleading campaign of the AU, former permanent representative to the United States of America. This says November 15, 2019, Addis Ababa. The African Union Commission regrets the continuation of a misleading campaign on different media outlets regarding the circumstances of the end of tenure of Dr. Arikana Chair Hombre Quao as the African Union Permanent Representative to the United States of America. Dr. Chair Hombre Quao received a letter on October 7th, 2019, bringing her tour of duty to an end in line with the terms and conditions governing her contract of appointment after serving 3 years as permanent representative of the African Union Mission to the United States of America. Per the African Union internal rules, a high-level team was deployed to the AU representational mission to the USA in Washington, D.C. from October 16 to 26 to carry out a supervisory audit of the office activities, facilitate the separation and the handover processes against the mandate of the office and the approved program activities. During this mission, the team found evidence corroborated by Dr. Qual that she initiated and implemented with AU funds activities of the following entities that have no AUC formal approval or legal link to the African Union, nor any of its organs, AUADHI, African Union, African Diaspora Health Initiative, African Electoral Integrity Initiative, Inc., Miss African Union Pageant, African Union Trading Company, LLC, Wakanda One Village Project Initiative, African Diaspora Global Fund, African Diaspora Federal Credit Union, PADFCU, in the New England, African Diaspora Youth Leaders Summit, Pan-African Diaspora Women's Association, PADWA, Pan-African Diaspora Men's Association, PADMA, Pan-African Diaspora Youth Association, PADYA, and African Diaspora Retreat. The team found that the above entities, initiatives, associations, and or corporations have conducted the following without prior knowledge or consent and against the rules of African Union. Utilize the African Union logo, presented themselves as official AU programs and or AU organs. Hold that thought. I'll be right back. Listen, read that real quick, y'all. Since I got a lot of haters in here. Read that real quick. All right, I hope you read that. Moving forward, used the name of the AU. 4, registered the official physical address of the AU mission in Washington, D.C. as their legal and financial domicilium. Some of these entities are illegally registered to USA Internal Revenue Services with diplomatic tax certificates supplied for by Dr. Qual, raised or received funds in the name of the AU, collected donations from private sector entities and companies like Chevron Oil Company. Donations and funds were collected in the name of the African Union mission with no evidence that any amount collected were deposited in AU accounts, including but not limited to the amount of $10,000 donated by Chevron Oil Company, a private entity headed by a certain Melvin Foote, confirmed that they utilized the funds for unknown activities unrelated to the African Union or its mission in Washington, D.C. In this regard, the African Union Commission has written confirmation from Dr. Qual that the aforementioned initiative's activities were her private engagements initiated by herself with no relationship to the African Union nor any of its organs. It was also found that Dr. Qual, in violation of the African Union rules and regulations, unilaterally made diplomatic appointments to several personalities unknown to the African Union and for whom she sought the U.S. Department of State's recognition of these individuals unknown to the African Union as bona fide envoys of the African Union before her separation. Ambassador Qual has signed official letters revoking these appointments. These letters were forwarded to the said individuals, and accordingly, the U.S. State Department was informed of its revocation. Since the separation of Dr. Qual of October 31st, 2019, speaking of Dr. Arikana, her whole name is Dr. Arikana Quihombe Qual, for your information out there, if in case you didn't know. But on October 31st of 2019, she has no further formal dealings with the AU, and the AU has implemented several remedial and preventative actions regarding the above mentioned issues. In this regard, the African Union Commission reserves the right to take any legal action, if necessary, against any use and or misuse of its name, logo, and resources by its unauthorized individuals or entities. Finally, the African Union Commission reiterates that the claims made in social media suggesting that Dr. Qual, better known as Dr. Arikana, and of tenure is due to any pronouncements or opinions she may have held during her 3.5-year tenure are blatantly untrue and unsubstantiated. Dr. Quihombe herself confirmed that she has never been sanctioned by the commission on any public pronouncements she has made during her 3-year tenure, and nor has the commission ever thought the need to do so. On the contrary, Dr. Quihombe mentioned a public presence freely without any fear or prejudice to voice her opinions, and did so via AU channels. Hold that thought. Anywho, there's a lot of people that don't give a damn about the truth, but I just read to y'all the document from the African Union about the firing of Arikana, Dr. Arikana Koihombre Kwao, the ambassador of the African Union back in 2019. Hold up. I talked about her because I knew that she was going to be very, very tricky in deluding and influencing my people to think that she was for us when she's never been. Never, ever been. So, again, this video was about Arikana scheming and scamming as she does for people who are lost about who they are and telling them that they need to get some type of citizenship when they don't need any citizenship, when they're a citizen of America and our birthright is here. Lastly, I want to play a little bit of O'Shea Duke Jackson because I was very impressed by what he had to say about Arikana and basically Pan-African scamming overall. I always have said that I believe that men should lead in the regard of telling the truth. Women should not be these warriors to express the truth. It's not our position. But if left alone, we'll be forced to tell the truth. And I had hoped that many other men would step in the gap and speak the truth. But many won't. Many don't. They refuse to do so. But I'm going to play a little snippet of O'Shea Duke Jackson. I hope that I'll be lucky enough to get the timestamp where it all talks about where I want it to be talked on. I don't even know the timestamp, but he did a good job in this video. This video is on Kenganda, Kenganda. He spoke a lot of truths. But let me go back just as a little snippet. Let me see. Lord help me with where it lands. Speak the truth and shame the devil. Hit the like, you guys. Stop being haters. Hit the like.
Good, honest people. It's a lot of good, honest people in Africa. But they don't have a culture of telling the truth when something happened to them. So they be in Belgium, Europe, Sweden, and let me tell you this: when they there, they see me calling it out, and they got mad, not because I'm telling the truth, because I'm calling it out. Why are you telling it like that? So you want me to come here and be a victim for you? Is that what y'all want? Y'all want the diaspora to come and be a victim? You're not even living in Africa right now. You living in China. No, that's how y'all keep y'all powers. You little middlemen and gatekeepers. See, what they don't want to tell you is that Africa is a big continent of gatekeeping and seat holding. Talking about it's so many opportunities in Africa. It is, but guess what? You got to beat gatekeepers for it. They ain't gonna tell you that. They ain't gonna tell you how it's not fair. They ain't gonna tell you that. How the culture of middleman is not fair. They ain't gonna tell you that. Gatekeeping is 100% real here. You know what they'll do? I'm gonna tell you what they'll do. You go in and want to work with a brand. Oh, why don't you come in? Let's meet up. First of all, the nigger gonna be there 2 hours late. And ain't no accountability here. Oh, they're gonna blame you for why they late. Man, you 2 hours late. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, he'll downplay it, or she'll downplay it all the time. You will come there. You will show them your idea. Oh, wow. That's nice. That's something to think about. That's excellent. But hold on one second. They're not ever telling you a committed time as to when y'all can work together. Here what they're going to do. They're going to steal all your shit. Like the brother said, they'll steal all your stuff. You'll turn around and look on Instagram. It'll be your idea there. You confront them about that. What? What are you talking about? Or they just leave you on silent. Then what they go do in the background, they'll go back around. And they'll tell their inner little circle, oh, don't work with that person. That person's hard to work with. That person's hard to deal with. That's how they do you. Now, here you are trying to be fair and honest, but they're not being honest and fair with you. And you spending your money, they'll tell you. I had a podcast host that was on my podcast. I don't even want to mention that nigga's name right now. He used to tell me, oh, you know what? Here's what you need to do. You need to kiss up to these people. I said, what? Come to find out, he in on it too, though. That's another story. He in on it too. Okay? He telling me to kiss up to the person. Both of them on the backside. Both of them, all of them, in it together. So this person that I'm trusting sending me over here to them, and all of them on the ends, beating me at the same time. Martians, thank you so much. That's how it works here. Now, there's a person that came and found me. I wasn't looking for them. And then once you go through this, you're supposed to keep it silent so the next group of y'all that come here experience the same shit I experienced. That's what they want. So they can keep these little games going on. And then what it hurts is, it hurts the people who love Africa, who love Uganda, who love Kenya, who want to do a real good job, who want to be in a system based on meritocracy, but they don't want to keep it that way. The ones that want you over here don't want to keep it that way. That's all throughout the continent. So when you call out Dr. Arikana, how dare you call out somebody who's hurting you? Because it's not about you. It's about getting your money. People love, I'm telling you, in this country, people celebrate scammers. They love them. You can hear, there's a one guy, what's this guy's name that did all that scamming over there? Hold on, Chef, just give me a minute. There's a dude that beat people out of Visa money. People was crying all on TikTok. They celebrate them. Scammers are celebrated here. They love them. It's aspirational. If you can be a scammer and beat somebody, who cares? I've seen it. I've seen people worship scammers here in this country. They're like celebrities. Now, it happens everywhere, but I really see it here. Love them. And they don't care nothing about you losing your money. They're not going to play fair with you. If you are not out here kissing Africa ass, telling Africa about how beautiful Africa is and all the opportunities, you can't have no opportunity when you got bureaucracy and gatekeeping on your ass every day. Ain't no opportunity in you. People you literally run into, they introduce you into people that sabotage you here. That's what, and it depends on the country. Now, if you're in Kenya, it's a little bit better. But still, you get gatekept all the time on the continent. Even when you have the money to do it, they gatekeep you because it's a power thing. People want you to beg them here. People want you to worship them here. It don't even matter you got more money. It's a power thing because people protect seats in Africa. They got their seat. Well, I'm gonna control my little seat, what I got, until I die or get out of office. That's their mentality here. And you coming in from the West, from the Britain, you coming from America, you coming from Europe, where your stuff is based on meritocracy, and you come in here, you think you meeting the seat holder, but that person's fake humble. Oh, how are you doing? How is everything? No. That person is a snake. That person's deceitful. See, at least in Black America, we don't like you. We gonna tell you. That ain't how Africans work. They ain't gonna come out straight tell you, get the F out my face like I'm gonna tell you. They don't talk like that. They don't operate like that. See, for me, I can tell you I don't like you, and it's the truth. And I don't like your ass. It's the God. But Africans don't do that. And their governments don't do that. They don't do that. So somehow you got to suffer to be around them. No, that's the disparity in this relationship. No, we don't want to suffer to be around your ass. No, we don't, and we're not going to. We as black people in America or any place else got the right as much as anybody else to be on this continent. I got a right. I have a God-given right. If I want to be here, I got a right to be here. I got a right. It's a fundamental right. And here's another right. I don't have to take your shit to be here. I don't. Because you're not respecting people in Africa. You countries not respecting black Americans in Africa. Y'all not respecting your own diaspora in Africa. Y'all not respecting them. The Kenyans in the diaspora, you don't respect them. The Ugandans in the diaspora, you don't respect them. The Nigerians in the diaspora, you don't respect them. All the diaspora, you don't respect them. They a lick, and you don't want to tell it how it is. It's a lick. And then another thing too, I'm gonna tell you, one of the good things that they trying to do, in my honest opinion, is for these disgruntled governments, they want black Americans over here. You know the reason why? Because they people outside is disgruntled. So if you here and things go well for you, you be loyal to whoever is in power. Because you don't care about what happened to the people that had to leave. That ain't your business. They don't want to talk about that either. But that's another story. I'll leave that for another day. Okay? That's another day. So when I'm coming after Arikana and Burkina Faso, they always got a middleman to get money out of us. They always got a middleman to scam somebody. Most governments, most private sector businesses, most middlemen don't operate on real, good, honest work. It operates on scams, lies, and thievery. That's how it works. I've said it so many times, but I'm saying it more explicitly. Okay, it works off lies, scams, and deception. That's how it works here. Embezzlement, lies, empty promises, no accountability. No accountability whatsoever on this continent usually. Go look at what's going on in South Africa and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's in a financial crisis. How is the most diversified economy on the continent in a financial damn crisis? How is it? No accountability, lying, cheating, stealing, scamming. That's how you get it. In some countries it's better than other, but it's what's plaguing the continent. And you throw black Americans into that mix. And they want, and they here go along to get along. That's why you here. That's why we here. Oh, change things silently. No, things can't be changed silently when you got all this bullshit going on in the game. I'm sorry. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. Y'all need to stop asking people from the diaspora to come to the continent if you're going to be dusty. If you're going to be dusty, stop asking people to come here. Then y'all want to act like it's a problem with us. Well, if it's a problem with us and people like me, then what was the problems you was having before we got here? Because y'all love to do that. Something happened. Oh, it's the black Americans' fault. That's all of this, all of it. No. How was you dusting it up before we got here? How was you doing that? Before a black American stepped on here as a repat or somebody from Black Britain, what was y'all doing? We already know the answer to that. We already know what y'all was doing. We know what you was doing. Down bad, dusting it up, shady. We already know you was down bad. The whole time you was down badding it up. Been down bad for years. What are y'all niggas talking about? What are y'all talking about? So when I'm coming after these people, I know they lying. Because these are the same things that's happened to me. So when y'all lose y'all money, I've been losing my money. Same situations. But I don't come out and really say anything about it. But I'm just tired of the BS. Y'all been down bad for years. This is not everybody, but y'all been dusty for what y'all been doing. Everybody in the world sees it. Y'all think that people don't know? You can go to all the business rankings on Forbes and you see it. Everybody sees it. What's wrong with y'all? You act like they don't see this shit? That what y'all doing? Y'all think that the government people don't know what y'all do? Everybody know what y'all do. In the private sectors in these countries, y'all think that somebody don't know what y'all do? Everybody knows what y'all do. And then somehow, with foreigners coming in, is it going to just change that? No. Like when do y'all want to take accountability for the stuff y'all doing? Dr. Arikana is just what happens in Africa. Scamming, lying, and then once you take the money from y'all, she tell y'all when she gonna meet with you about your money. That happens all the time too. You pay somebody here a lot of times. What do they do? Oh, okay. You got all kind of grievances. Now you're getting your ass out here handed to you on my channel. Okay, now I can come here and I can meet up with y'all when I get ready. But if she had a meeting with the Chinese, she'd have been there right soon when it happened. If it was some Europeans, and if you think that Dr. Arikana don't work with Europeans, you a damn lie. She'd have been right there instantly if Europe had a problem with her. Right away.
And she does work with the Europeans and the Chinese. She is the overseer for those individuals. I've been trying to tell y'all. She is working with the elites of the globalists, playing Pan-African, trying to help Black Americans find themselves, which always leads to us spending a lot of money and taking a lot of chances, giving up our information in our ADDI database, paying a lot of money that's enriching her, where she's making promises for citizenship and it's not being granted. Or she's promising a Wakanda city in Ghana that's never been built. And so forth and so on. The schemes and the scams of Dr. Arikana will continue until we shut it all the way down. And again, I'm not late. I'm always early. I'm telling y'all, she should be called out and she should be ostracized. She should be banished, banned, blocked from any association with Black Americans on any level. That is the code that we should follow as Indigenous American Blacks, or if you like to call yourself FBA, ADOS, I don't give a damn. American. She's not on our side. No way, no how. I appreciate it, O'Shea, for being on camera, being in Africa, and spilling the beans on the facts of the matter in this. It's not easy to do in Africa. So for him to do that and putting himself kind of like out there, you have to give credit what credit is due. And I appreciate you, O'Shea, even if you don't even appreciate me. I know I've come after you many of times because of the trick and because of your association with Sinful the P. Because a lot of us were disrespected as women, and a lot of men to date look at us as just something to do quickly and move on about their own lives. Most of you don't want to settle with a Black American and make her honorable, make her a family woman, make her a wife or anything. And I had fought with you in my mind about your representation of Manosphere, Passport Bro, a trick to go against the grain, against women being treated decently, and helped to survive The men are supposed to be the anchor in the survival of women and children. And the men tapped out and said, fuck you, women and children. And you, at times, O'Shea Du Jackson represented the person that would say, fuck the women and the children. But coming out, speaking out against this fraudster, Dr. Arikana, being in Africa at the same time, gives you the right to be redeemed and forgiven. We just got to keep this messaging up, because a lot of these Africans, such as Akon, think about Akon. Akon talked about Akon City. He borrowed $6 billion from the Chinese. He owes all that money. He never built nothing. He assumed he had influence into Black Americans. Everybody assumes that they have this influence on us. They assume that we're going to be footing bills. They assume we're going to be the slave debt people of their plan or scheme. All of them. Arikana, Akon, Umar, so forth and so on. T3, everyone you can think on that has been using Pan-Africanism to have a leg up in the conversation have been coming for us as predators. And I think now, O'Shea, you see the light. I think now you can not look away. You can't look away. And I hope that many of us out here won't be able to look away, because we got some saving to do of our own. And Arikana is not our friend. Umar is not our friend. Any other Pan-African is not our friend. Nobody's talking about giving towards the conditions on the ground in Memphis, Chicago, California, wherever. Nobody is talking about what they can do for our children. They are talking about everything else but us. And we've been programmed to be about everybody else but us. And I've come to switch that from being the case. We got to be about ourselves, and people are not going to respect us unless we respect ourselves. We got to tell the truth against what's going on against us and not play dumb. These are the things in which I hope to have accomplished in this video. I will not take this video down, but I did take down a couple of other videos because I did not feel the support, and I was not really in tune with the video like that anyways. But yeah, we got to save ourselves first. We got to look out for ourselves first. We got to love ourselves first. I'm done ranting. Please like and share the video. I know I have a lot of haters that don't want to understand, but yet they want to be understood. It's really odd. You know what I mean? It's really odd. But I appreciate everybody that does support me. I understand that my other channel, I haven't been able to be on that channel. But this channel is where I'll be. There's a lot that I could say. There's a lot of things that I've been observing overall. Just the usage of Black American, African American, Blacks in America, how people want to utilize our essence and claim they're representing what we think towards other goals and other agendas. It's really, really baffling that many of us are not sick and tired of that going on to shut it all the way down. There are some that are pointing out what the Democrats are doing, what the immigrants are doing, claiming to be Black Americans, claiming to be so-called African American, claiming our history, claiming our goal of what we want and desire to have happen, going against reparations and other things that would benefit us wealth-wise. They come they come feloniously as us, speaking for us. And I'm saying to my people, if you can hear me, start stopping and blocking these fools from ever speaking out and letting your voice be known as to what you feel and how it is. We are not afraid of ICE. We are happy that ICE is around. I'm happy that the feds or the National Guards or whatever is cleaning up the neighborhood, because we were held hostage. And if some of those people that were holding us hostage get out the way, it's going to better our chances to live and breathe freely again. So I don't care. But what I don't want is Pan-Africans to have free reign in our life, making up lies and lying about citizenship and other things that we should not even be tripping on. We should not be worshiping, reverencing any of these Africans, especially Dr. Arikana Hombre. Wow. No. And this video gives you the example of why. So I'm going to go. Peace, like, love. Please like and share the video. And even my haters, you know, the truth is the truth.